Shit. Motherfucker brand new and shit.
He said, I don't get no
Motherfucker got
headset.
2 months of podcasting and I ain't think he know something.
He said, do I get a headset? No, sir. That's funny.
So this, so the mic don't need to be towards me. It's okay like this?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. Everything is fine.
Okay,
Everything is fine. I'm going to keep it a buck.
All right, man. All right.
If it ain't, even while you're talking, I'll tell you, like, you put your mic up, whatever. But
okay.
It's funny because, and we're going to start in a minute, but it's funny that you asked these questions because I think you ask them knowing how when you can listen back when somebody wasn't close to the mic or when somebody was too low.
Yeah.
I hate it. So, like, I used to hate telling people, like, yo, can you please just talk on the mic, bro?
Right.
Like, it was one point when I first started, I had 2 mics. Just in case they turn this way or turn that way, you gonna talk in one of them because ain't no way I got all this equipment and you sound like you whispering.
Yeah.
So, but you sound
You helped me
great.
out though, man, because I forget who we had come in and they didn't talk into the mic the way they should have. And it was really, I told my kid, I said, that's my fault. I should have prepped them beforehand. Like, hey, you're gonna be looking at me, but dude, you gotta talk into that mic.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that, but they get so caught up in the conversation, which is really good.
Yeah, it's great.
And that was an episode too.
Listen, it was great shit that we didn't hear, bro.
Yeah, that was that was an amazing episode. That was probably one of my favorites, though. I was like, dang, he ain't talking loud enough, though. But I mean, but also that comes from like the mic, sometimes mic placement too. It's why like people don't like when I had a mic up on them, but it's for a reason. Because if I sound super clear and you sound like, it ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna flow.
I heard the question. What's the answer? You know what I'm saying?
For sure. That's what I'm saying. Like now, so I'm right here. So should I be up here?
No, you're perfect. Once again, you're perfect.
Okay, all right, man. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Perfect, look good. You know what I'm saying? Like a movie star right now. I'm telling you, man. This is good. This is good stuff. All right, man. Without further ado, mic check, man. Morning Masters podcast. Your host, man. Of course, I got a special guest across me, man. Mr. Donald Doe Jr. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing fantastic.
Can't clap it up for you. You know what I'm saying? You can't hear the claps. No, you don't need headphones. Okay, again. Yeah, man. This is dope. Last year, we had quite a few meetings actually. You know what I'm saying? Right now, just to give people an intro to you, who you are, though. At least to me, definitely a mentor to me. But one, a great man, a good dad, a husband, businessman, family man, life coach to a lot of people, I'm pretty sure. But for me, I look at it like, you're new to, I guess, podcasting, but I look at it and out of all of like the newcomers, and I know everybody gonna text me like, oh, why not me? Why not me? My favorite, just because of consistency. I don't think nobody has started since I've been podcasting and been that consistent ever. Like the only time you weren't doing nothing is when you had a busy season for what brings the money in, And even that is like, you still have so much content. I don't think nobody know you didn't record. You could have put a reel out every day if you wanted to. This is hours of material, every week in out. So to me, I tip my hat to you because that's amazing. Because people like you keep people like me on my toes. Because like you think you could take a week off or 2 weeks off, and it's like you're like, hey, D, I got 3. Whoa, 3. God damn. I just sent you back 3 episodes. You sure? You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you and shout out to y'all actually, because that's a great show. I like it. I learned a lot from it, and I can't say a lot of local podcasts definitely that I learned a lot from. But with you guys, I learned a lot because it's not just about the content of what you talk about. It's the experience you have and what you're talking about. So I think that's what makes or separates you guys from the pack of all of us. A lot of us are just like giving our ideas and what we think. But y'all been through it. Y'all got real stories that, this is actually documented that I know this. You are real professionals in a certain realm. So I definitely want to give you a shout out for that. So, bring you here today, though, I wanted to just start with who you are. I know you've been on a few times. We know you at a lot of things, I'm going to be honest with you. Mainly the hip kids is like, oh, that's Lacey's dad, the credit lady's dad. You know what I'm saying? You got the financial. You got in the sports groups. You were a certain guy in the sports groups. I didn't know that until I actually was in the sports group. I said, oh, wow, he goes in the sports groups. Like, you are very, very vocal in those sports groups. So, but I want to get kind of a background of who you are as, just a person and just, Donald Doe. So let's start with this. Because we talk about this off mic. I want to kind of get that out the way first. Like, who is Donald Doe?
Whew, man, that's, first of all, listening to you just talk about me so eloquently. I was just sitting there taking all that in, man.
I try.
I was like, tell me more, man.
I try.
But who is Donald Doe, man? So Donald Doe is someone who tries to be authentic. I try to live in every moment and not take anything for granted. And so even with like Free Game Don D, these are just my thoughts and experiences and things that I've gone through in life, things that I've seen work and things that I've seen did not work. And I just started talking about it. Me and my wife, pillow talking about relationships, things that we've gone through, blended family, just all kind of things in relationships. And we say, you know what, we're gonna start talking about this stuff. So that kind of was the birth of like Free Game Don D, which is the podcast. I know you talked about our consistency. We have just the thing about the podcast, for instance, with Free Game Don D was more so like there was years of notes, years of thoughts that I text to myself. I'm a weird guy. I would text myself. Like I'm always thinking about stuff, bro. Like if something hit my head, I write it down. I text it to myself. I put it on my notepad on my phone. Like literally, like all day. I probably done text myself 10, 15 times a day. Just all kind of weird stuff that hit my brain. That's I want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Or I read a lot of books. When something hit me, I want to share it. But a lot of the things that I talk about are things that I've gone through, things that I've learned in business, life, family. That's why I call it life, family, business, the podcast, because there's so many things that I've gone through. And growing up, they your parents teach you weird stuff that's not productive, like, don't tell all your business. There's people out here that need you to tell your business so that they can realize it's okay to be wherever they are. And there is a path out. But if you don't tell nobody what you've gone through, but you're walking around here like you're perfect, because if you see Donald Doe to right now, you're thinking, okay, yo, this guy, man, they got it going on. You don't see the struggle. So I'm always going to tell you the struggle. So when you're struggling, you can know what the other side looks like. So I think for me, like even on social media, like everything is just about like just being as authentic as possible, just being free with my thoughts. I'm literally an open book. Like if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you, you might not like the answer, but I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you the answer because I feel like I may not get another chance to talk to you. And I had a young lady that I called today. She's in business with us, and I called her. I said, "Listen, you was on my spirit. I just wanted to call you." And she said, "You made my day." I said, "Listen, here's the thing. It was in my spirit to call you and check on you, so I called you and I checked on you." And when something get in my spirit, I don't ask God why it's there. I just do what I do. I pick up the phone and I call you. And she was taken aback by that, but that's how I live my life because my father was like that. He's the only person in my family that calls to check on you genuinely. Like he doesn't want anything. He would just like call and say, "Hey, son, I'm just checking on you." It's out the blue. I'm like, "Everything all right?" "Yeah, I'm just checking on you." You know what I'm saying? And so I do that too with people that I really genuinely care about, people that affect me in a certain type of way, you know what I'm saying? So I did this to this young lady and she was taken aback by it. But like I just got that gift. Like if something hits my spirit to check on somebody, I just check on them. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when it comes to the podcast, like, and when it comes to just life, fatherhood, all this stuff that I'm doing, it's just like I want to get as much stuff out here, because I don't take today for granted. We got today. I'm not going to throw away now for maybe. Tomorrow is maybe. It may happen, it may not happen, but I got right now. So I'm taking advantage of right now, right? That's just my mindset on everything, whether it's my family, whether it's business, whatever it is. If I got something to hit my head, I say, "Hey, my kid, let's go drop something real quick." You know what I'm saying? Because now it's in my spirit to drop this. And see, the thing about podcasts, it's got to be, you got to have that energy for it. Like you can just drop stuff just to be dropping it. But when you can drop it because you got energy, like, "Oh, I'm feeling this, man, let's go get it." It's different. You know what I'm saying? Different. Like you can, and my thing is that I don't want people to hear me. I want them to feel me. When I'm talking, I want you to feel it. I want you to be like, "Oh man, yeah, okay, I feel that."
I felt the whole energy just shift just now. I'm gonna be honest with you. You went from saying business to like now feel. Like that's I like that. That's you for real. Like that's funny because you're a real mellow person. Like most times you just chill, right? But I do realize, like, even in the beginning of your podcast, like you say life, family, we joked before, and like, and business, but I don't know what it is when you say business, but I think you turn up. Like, you just like, now you energetic. Now I'm ready to get the pod started. So I see it in how you talk and just, your mannerisms on the podcast as well.
Yeah.
So you did mention some things I want to kind of get into though, because you mentioned you was like, they see you now, but you had to get there, so they don't see the struggle, they don't see the story getting there. So I want to start with that. Like, just tell me about like, where you from? Let's start with there. Like, where you from? Your upbringing, like your household, 2 parent, 1 sibling, 1 bucket. I don't know.
Well, listen, man. We're from Augusta. We moved to North Augusta when I was young, so I was raised in a small 3-bedroom house. 1 sister, 4 brothers. So mom and dad, 5 boys, 1 girl. Being the oldest, of course, I had it the roughest because we didn't have a lot when I was young, right? We didn't.
So
we didn't
you're
have
the oldest.
Yeah, I'm the oldest out of
Jesus
6, right? So so basically, I'm like the I guess, as my brothers would say, I guess the standard or the foundation. Like, everybody's following me. So there's a lot of pressure behind that kind of stuff, right? But as a kid, I was just trying to be a kid. I didn't realize I was the oldest. I mean, I knew I was the oldest, but didn't really understand what that really truly meant. But like, growing up, we didn't have a lot. I remember one time my dad, shout out to my dad, he would always just come home every day from work and give us like now latest. He would always have something for us when he came home. He used to work midnight, and he would come home at 8 o'clock in the morning. So he worked 12 to 8, and he would always come home with candy for us or some sort of treat. And we'll be wide awake early in the morning because we know Daddy coming home. And he always had something for us. And I thought my dad was rich. I really did. Until one day I looked on the mantelpiece I looked on the dresser in his bedroom, and he had his pay stub there, and it was like $250. And I was like, damn.
Yo, chill.
I was like, damn, man, we broke, man. You know what I'm saying? Because
it's important to say what year this is though, because 250 today ain't nothing but.
This is a long time ago, man. But not that damn long. I mean, it was still $250 a week is $250. It wasn't like it was the 50s or nothing. I mean, this was still probably late 80s. So I was like, damn, man, we it's rough around here, man.
Minimum wage was like $2 back then too. You know what I'm saying? So $250, I gotta do the math on that. I ain't crazy about math, but I gotta do the math on that to get my.
That takes like $250. It might have been. It was not much, man. All I know is that when I saw it, I felt poor. That's all I know. I don't have. I'm saying, I'm just telling you how I felt at the time as a child. I was like, man, we poor, man. So, but with that being said, like we grew up in a rich household because we had structure, we had love, we had spiritual guidance. My mom kept us in religious activities. My father gave us discipline and structure.
Real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was important. Not just to me. You said, you felt poor when you seen the stuff, of course, but I grew up in a rich household.
Yeah.
It had structure.
Right.
And discipline.
Right.
Love.
Right.
Like, kind of expound on that to me when you say rich.
Well, listen, now you got to understand now, coming from the perspective of, where I am now. Now, I didn't feel that back then, but I had to look back on it like, man, we was rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some of my friends that I grew up with, their parents had great jobs, and they were divorcing and had tumultuous households. We didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? So we just didn't have a lot of money, but we were rich in everything else. My mom made our clothes. I mean, she was phenomenal when it came to like sewing. So she was a stay-at-home mom at one point. So like, we never went without anything. Like we wanted a clean suit. Mama would just pull out the sewing machine and get the sewing, and she would make our suits and the shirts. I mean, like, so we was clean for church. And so it was just, you don't realize how much you were blessed until you reflect, and you're like, man, like we really was blessed. We was really rich. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't know it at that time. But looking back on it, yeah, we was much richer than some of our friends who were a lot more well-to-do than what we were. So that's what I mean by that.
But I just want to. That was perfect explanation, but I do want to say this: like, with rich to you, I'm asking you because I just respect your financial mind as well. is rich more of a mindset? Is it more of a surrounding? Is it more of a feeling than monetary value?
Well, listen, man. I'm gonna be very honest with you, man. As a child, it was all about money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna sit there and play these games. Like, when I was a kid, it was a monetary value on rich. Like, one of my friends, his dad was working at SRS, and his dad, was making like $700-800 a week. You know what I'm saying? My dad making $200. I'm like, so that's how as a child you're thinking about this, right? When you become a grown man and have a family of your own, you realize, like, man, we was really rich, man. We really, because now, of course, I look at all this stuff differently, man. When you look at, you start talking about wealth, it's way more than just a monetary thing, right? It's bigger than that, right? So, but as a young person, I definitely put a dollar amount on being rich, and we were certainly not rich, right? But we really were.
Describe you as a child, and I mean a child. I'm not saying teenage years. I'm talking about young Donald, 13 and down. Like, man, what kind of child were you?
And people have a hard time dealing with this. When I was very shy. I wasn't very talkative. I was afraid of girls. Did not talk very much at all. And I think I might have had some like low self-esteem possibly because we didn't have a lot. When you don't have a lot of money and you're around other kids that got the nice shoes and things of this nature, you feel like, you don't have it. And so, I was always hiding. Like, I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be called out.
Did you feel like because you didn't have like the clothes or like the money, maybe you didn't measure up like society-wise, what the society norms are? Like, these latest shoes, these new jeans you're wearing. But your mom making your shirts and your jeans or whatever,
yeah. Your mama will make our clothes and be like, "You good?" I'm like, "I can't go to school with this. I can't go to school with this on, man. What you doing? I'm doing this."
I was going to ask you that. I know I joke a lot, but your mom didn't make you like a Gordon Gartrell? Like,
man. Nah. Shout out to mama though, man. I mean, we was clean, but man, I need a label on this, man. Like.
Yo, time out.
I would try to like cut labels off and put them on my shirt and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a label on this, man. I need a Lacoste on here, a Polo Horse. You know what I'm saying? I need a Nike. I need something on this shirt, okay? And so yeah, that was problematic, man. So I was embarrassed to go to school.
I need a label on this.
I need a label on this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So just being honest, man, like that's really how it was for us, man. Especially me. My next brother up under me is like 4 years younger than me. So, my parents really didn't have it like that when I was growing up. But when some of them came up, mom and dad was balling by then, you know what I'm saying? Well, balling by my standards based on how I came up. But
no more 250.
Nah, no more 250, because by then, mama was entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? So mama started doing her thing, and she was the breadwinner in the household as an entrepreneur, and then that's when things got but like I said, I was out the house by then, so I didn't experience that life. The life I experienced was 250, and 250 life was rough.
What about you mentioned you said you were shy, you were scared of girls. Like what was that about? Did you feel like did you not come into your own? Did you feel like you wasn't an attractive young man? Or
well, here's the thing, I was always afraid of girls because. When I was 10 years old, I was sexually assaulted by a woman. And because I was sexually assaulted by a woman, I was afraid of women because of that. So I didn't feel comfortable around a woman because I was sexually assaulted by a woman. So a lot of my shyness especially around girls, came from that.
And you said it's when you was 10 or 11.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
That was 10.
I only asked that because I guess it's a 2-part question really, but I thought about this the other day. With that, like, how like sometimes young boys definitely like anytime something sexual happen, like they brag on it. Like it's like a braggadocious kind of thing. Yeah. That wasn't the case for you though. You didn't feel like you needed to brag on it. It wasn't something that felt good. It was like you just didn't like it.
Yeah, let me tell you something, man. I really don't believe that. I think we say that, okay, most young boys, when that happens, they brag about it. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And if they do brag about it, it's because they're trying to hide the pain, right? When you're 10 years old and you're being sexually assaulted by someone twice your age, it doesn't feel good because you don't even know what you're feeling. Actually, you just kind of going along with it. And I remember, as a young person, kind of blocking it out. Like I didn't talk about it. I had to be a grown man before I even admitted what had happened to me sexually. And it was tough because it messed me up sexually because a woman hurt me. I spent a lot of my life questioning in my sexuality. Like do I like guys? Because a woman hurt me. So I'm not really feeling women right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure what's going on. So my dad would always ask me, like, you always at your boy house. Well, I felt safe over there. Right? He was a guy, I was a guy. I felt safe around him. He was like, y'all don't never have no girls. But I didn't tell him, like, I don't feel comfortable around girls.
Yeah.
So I think I had some sexuality issues up until I was about 18. I got my first sexual encounter with a woman, and I was all in. So I don't understand how I got. Once I was in. But I questioned my sexuality until I was about 18. I had my first sexual encounter. I was like, man, I'm all in on this. This is where I want to be. But before that, I mean, I was really confused because a woman hurt me.
But I guess too, it's a big difference too, where it's like one is against your will, and one is like I'm engaged in this. I want to engage in this act. You know.
But here's the thing: even when that happened to me, I didn't pursue it. The woman, she was faster than me. So I was really, it wouldn't have happened if it was up to me.
Right.
She was fast. Like my mama and them said, that girl fast. Yeah, she was fast. And I just let it happen. And I was like, I think I like it here. You know what I'm saying? And so I've been all in ever since then. But prior to that, I was afraid to talk to girls. I was afraid to make any kind of sexual moves because of what had happened to me. And it took me some years to kind of really come to grips with what had happened to me and kind of move forward, but, with therapy and things like that. And just talking about it, even within myself, like, okay, I'm okay with this. I mean, it's something troublesome. I think a lot more boys get sexually assaulted than we know.
I 100% agree. And I think, like you said, a lot of times if they are bragging or if they are talking about it in a certain sense, a lot of times subconsciously it's to hide another feeling. So it may be to hide that you didn't like that, but you're going to act like you did. It may be to hide that it bothers you, but you feel less manly or boily, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think society makes us as boys or men feel like you can't
complain.
You can't express that feeling like, hey, this hurt me. So even when these grown women sexually assault these boys today, like, I think boys have to just pretend that it did not hurt them because society, almost puts that on us. But like as a woman, everybody wants to save the girls, but we're not saving boys. Boys are being sexually assaulted and raped, and boys are expected to just be okay with that, like because society tells them like, hey, it's you're a boy, suck it up, this kind of stuff that kind of gets embedded in us as young men, and then we grow through life like with this trauma, and we're acting out in ways, and we don't understand why we're acting out, but it's the trauma that's been inflicted upon us that we didn't understand, and that trauma it leads to a lot of things that we need therapy to kind of like reconcile with, and right. Like I say, for me, I know, like I say, I struggled mightily with just girls because of that.
And I feel like also like one of the main things I see when people have that as a background, like they've been molested or assaulted. I don't know which word to use. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just saying something. But I think like from what I've seen, it's one of them things where like you kind of have to go through it to understand what somebody may be going through, because the thoughts in your mind, like you can say it here till you blue in the face. But for somebody who hasn't been through it, they still not going to understand your thought process. You can give them every single thought, and they may not understand that thought process. Sometimes with certain situations, I feel like you have to go through it kind of to understand like the mindset of somebody that's been through it. Because somebody else that ain't been through it, like, I don't know, I never. But sometimes they still fighting them demons. They 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. They still like pretending, and they not willing to open up and be truthful with how they really feel about something.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There's people out here still dealing with traumas that happened to them as a child, man. And I believe in therapy, though. I'm a big therapy guy. So I believe in, sitting, talking it out. I just believe in that. I believe in vulnerability as a man. I believe it's okay. I think vulnerability as a man, having vulnerability as a man is a superpower. You know, that's what I believe. And I didn't always believe that. So, you know, because like I said, you're being brought up in environments where, you know, talking about your feelings is even your parents will tell you, oh, don't talk about that. See, parents too busy worried about being embarrassed, right? They not worried about helping you heal. They worried about how, oh, don't talk about that because that's going to embarrass the family. So I got to suffer on the inside so everybody on the outside don't get embarrassed. No, I don't think so. We're going to talk about this because I need to heal. So I always think it's important for young people to heal. Even my kids, man. Like I put my kids in therapy when me and their mom got a divorce because I thought it was important for them to heal with a lot of the things that they were dealing with. I truly do believe that, you know, a lot of children go through stuff as adults because they were not allowed to heal as children, right? Because their parents were too selfish. They were worried about being embarrassed. And so, you know, because they didn't want to be embarrassed on the outside, you had to suffer on the inside. And I believe that that's a grave mistake that parents make, not providing an environment where children feel free to talk about what has happened to them.
Well, that's a good segue because I was going to ask you about your parents, per se. Like, give me like mom versus dad. Like, what's that dynamic like for you coming up?
Yeah.
You looking back now, of course, not like you at 8, but like you looking back now. What was that dynamic like for you with your parents?
Well, a traditional household. My dad, very hardworking. You know, my mom and my dad were the kind of household where my dad would I guess bring home the bacon. You know, that traditional family where you hear, well, my mom might say, "Do you love me, Donald?" And my dad might say, "I'm still here, ain't I?" Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, and my dad, you know, he didn't really show a whole bunch of emotion towards my mom. As far as like talking and just kind of like lovey-dovey, like we didn't really see that, but we knew they loved each other, but we didn't always see it. And that's why, you know, now that I'm married and I have children, I realize how important it is for kids to actually see that interaction, right. And not for us. Oh yeah, we love each other, but like, do the kids know it? Like, do they really know it? I mean, yeah, we together, but like, do they know how we should be conducting ourselves? Like my parents, they loved each other, but we didn't always see, you know, that, you know, loving interaction, you know, the way a man and a woman should be doing in front of children.
No affection.
Yeah, because kids need to see that. They need to really see what that looks like. So my dad was just kind of like, he worked hard. He came home, handled anything needed to be handled. Mom took care of us. Handled business around the house until she became an entrepreneur, and then that's when we had a little bit of a shift because, you know, Dad was still, you know, working. Like Dad had plant jobs, right? Like my dad dropped out of high school, so he didn't have a college degree, not even a high school diploma or GED. But one thing about my dad, he could do anything. He's just one of these guys, like he don't have the credentials, but he could do anything, right? And Mama, she just was super smart young lady. She was an accountant, and she started her own business. And Mama really took us to the next level. As far as financially, we started to realize, okay, hold up now, Mama do what she want to do, and she's a entrepreneur. And that was my first taste of entrepreneurship, watching my mama, watching how she did what she wanted to do, and that was attractive to me. I didn't know how to get there. And that's another thing about being parents. Like parents, they'll be showing things to their children, but they're not really articulating what they're doing. Like kids are just watching, right? So I was watching Mama, but I didn't really.
She wasn't giving you the step by step of like, I did this. This is how I got here.
It's like watching somebody cook, but they don't give you the recipe. And so I was watching Mama cook, like she was getting it, man. I was like, damn, Mama a boss. How do I get here? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, what does this really look like? What's the ingredients? Like, I didn't know what the ingredients was. I just know that she was baking cakes. You know what I'm saying? I just seen the finished product. Like, we could go on vacations and she could just buy nice things and just move the way she wanted to move without anybody telling her what to do. And I just didn't understand it, but I knew it was attractive. And I watched my dad, which I followed my dad's footsteps initially, which was, you know, get a good job, and that was cool. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't really know the true difference until I became an entrepreneur. And I think you were talking about that as far as, the other topic we were talking about, like until you've been through it, then you be like, oh, okay, I see the difference.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I kind of followed my dad's footsteps for like the first probably 8 years or so of my adult life once I got out of high school. But then that kind of shifted because I got laid off from a job, and then I kind of got pushed into entrepreneurship. But my mom and my dad were very different, man. My dad was he was stern. If my daddy told you to do something, he only gonna tell you once. He ain't gonna tell you twice. I told you what to do. That's it. First of all, when he said it the first time, we always did it. Now, mama, she might have took 3 or 4 times. You know what I'm saying? But when daddy said it, because he didn't say a lot. So basically, like, he let mama kind of like tell us what to do, and he said something when we didn't do it, and he only had to say it one time, and we did it. So he was definitely the discipline figure in the house. And listen, with 5 boys and 1 girl, yeah, I mean, with these boys, I mean, yeah, we needed that.
What as a your upbringing, like what inspiration did you have? Who were your inspiration, if they're who's, or what was your inspirations?
Well, I think growing up, man, both of my parents were my inspiration. I was kind of blessed, man. I didn't have any role models that I looked up to outside of my household. My role models were my mom and my dad, and just the way that they. My dad, because he had a strong work ethic. Like, my dad always went to work, always. I mean, he was sick, he still went to work. Like, he always took care of business. Like, we always had food. Whether that check on that dresser was $150 or $250, I mean, we always had food. That's all I know. I know we never went without eating. And my mom, when she once we got to be a certain age, and she saw an opportunity in entrepreneurship, she took that and she showed me, like, how to hustle. Like, my mom was a hustler. Looking back on it now, like, she knew how to go out and talk to people and sell. Like, she was the first salesperson that I ever saw. And she was great at going out, hustling in that fashion, man. And so both of my parents really were my role models growing up as kids.
This is just, I have to ask this one question. I'm moving on, like, from the lifestyle, but, like, I know you mentioned, like, how parents should have, like, a safe, open space for their kids to be able to talk to them and feel free. With you in your situation when you was 10, did you feel like that was there for you, or did you feel like that time period is a different time period than now, where, like, certain things you just didn't talk about?
Yeah, that was one of them things where, like, you didn't really talk about it. And honestly, when you're young like that, and maybe that's even to today, I'm sure, like, even today's children, when something like this happened to you, you don't even know it's wrong. It's not until you become grown you realize, hold up, this lady raped me. You know what I'm saying? This lady sexually assaulted me. I even tried to, like, minimize it and say, oh, but she touched on me. No. She had sex with me. Like, so that's rape. You know what I'm saying? But it took me some years to kind of come to, to really come to the reality of that situation. But a lot of times when stuff happens to you when you're young, you don't even know it's wrong. So I didn't even know to say nothing to my mama about it, because I didn't even know it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I just know I didn't like it. I think that's the only thing that a child knows, is that I don't like this. Yeah. Right? And so I don't want to be in this situation again, but I did know it was wrong.
Just to expound on something about that, because I think it's important to say, but you just said it's like highly important that sometimes you just don't know it's wrong. Because even, like, I know for me, like, when I was younger, if I went to it's my dad, mind you, going to my dad, so I'm going by my cousins, my aunts, my whatever. Every time we came home, my mom would ask us these questions, and I would get annoyed, like, bro, like,
somebody
relax.
touch
Yeah, like, relax, bro. But seriously, like,
right, no,
sure. It did, because even if I said yes to something, I never did, but if I said yes to something, it's more questions now. So now, as a parent, she wouldn't feel like she was there. So I'm asking all these questions, and it was annoying, but I'm gonna ask you all these questions every time. I'm gonna ask y'all separately. Hey, they said yes, so what happened? They said this happened. Oh yeah, it did. Well, why? Give me the backstory. And I think I always admire her for that, because, like, never had to run into nothing, but she did have a daughter as well, so she had to make sure that we all, once again, was make sure protected. Yeah, I'm the oldest like you, but still gotta ask these questions. And I think that's important too. When your kids are somewhere or just not around you, asking those questions, not just assuming because they're around this friend, this family, or because this cousin.
Because let's be honest, it's gonna be the family that's gonna do it
every time.
So I'm just being real, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, even my son, like I talked to my son since he was a little boy. First of all, he don't go over everybody's house, but I say, son, don't let nobody touch you. If anybody touch you, you make sure you let me know. And I don't assume this because his parents out there right now that ain't telling their sons this. They telling the girls. Mm-hmm. They're not telling the boys, right? This happens to boys too. So I always, because of what happened to me, I know it's real. So I tell my son, like, if anybody they touch you in any way, you know what I'm saying? You got a cell phone now, but you know, it ain't gonna, he 12 now, so it's, you know.
But even what you're saying though, it's funny you said it. Not funny, I'm using the wrong word. It's ironic you say that. You say funny and it's not funny. It's ironic you say that.
For sure.
Because even you telling your son that or somebody telling their son that, you still gotta ask those questions because these kids you would do everything you need to do on your side, and they still won't tell you nothing because they sometimes they gotta get pulled out of them. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like they're not gonna say, hey, you know, Dad, you said this happened. They ain't thinking that. They once again they might not think it's wrong. You might have to actually pull it out of them, or once again they also in a space where they scared. They don't feel like that's a safe space, or they protecting themselves. They feel like they might get in trouble if they say something. So it's a lot of things. So I get you saying, but I definitely understand what you're saying about the daughter versus son kind of way we coddle or parent with certain things. Because you shouldn't just ask the girls one thing. Ask your son as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember being younger. I was telling the other day, and it was me. I was just selfish that day. But my mom was telling my sister something. They having in New York, you know, it's real small, so they in the kitchen. You can hear everything. I'm in the back of the house, right? And I hear her telling her a story about, you know, and I was younger, you know, I remember this guy was in the car and he was massaging himself and he was like, hey, come massage this for me. And I'm like, whoa, where the story come? Why you tell me this story for? Who's this guy, first of all, right? But I'm like, all right, damn. But I think my sister's going through puberty. She's trying to tell her stuff to watch out for. And I'm thinking like, I went through puberty last year. Why everybody talk to me? You know what I'm saying? It was like a jealous moment, but at the same time, I was thinking like, you know, that's what girls get. Girls, they do get that kind of talk. Some girls, not every girl, but some girls get that talk to where like, you wonder why sometimes they mature at a younger age, but they also getting these talks from all angles. But boys like, oh, you hurt? You good? You bleeding? All right, go back out there. Sure. It's like, that's what we get.
Yeah.
So we learn through mess ups.
Oh yeah. I mean, like the way I raised my son a lot differently from the way I was raised. And not that my parents did the best job with the skills that they had, but I'm a lot more equipped and skilled than they were. So I took what they did and I had to enhance it. You know, kids need you to talk to them in a real way. And especially boys, like I said, because something could happen and it's subtle. And when you tell me about this thing that was subtle, I'm like, oh no, that was leading up to something. You didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that like you do have to create an environment, and it begins with small things where kids can come to you and just talk to you without you as a parent just taking it to taking it to another level, and also and just being dismissive of them and their feelings and whatever they're going through. So me and my wife definitely try our best. We're very conscious of the importance of making sure that all of our kids can come and talk to us about anything. Matter of fact, some of my daughters tell me things I don't even want to know. But they're comfortable telling me all about their stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I just let them tell me. I just be like, I ain't really need to know that, but that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad they feel comfortable enough to tell me these things.
I want to get into fatherhood, but I want to ask this question first about, because you mentioned like you followed your father's footsteps and got a good job. What was that job and what were you doing like during that time?
Yeah, so like I went to college, man, and I always thought I was going to be a businessman, right? But you don't understand at a young age that when you go to school for business, they're not going to teach you entrepreneurship. Hell, they don't even know entrepreneurship, so they can't teach you what they don't know. But anyway, I'm thinking, they're going to teach me how to be an entrepreneur. So that's what so I went to school for business, and I just knew that in college I was going to learn how to be an entrepreneur. Well, after 2 years, and didn't nobody teach me nothing about entrepreneurship, I said, I'm out of here. And so I talked to my dad about getting a job where he worked at. My dad was so against it. He did not. My dad wanted me to get a degree or some sort of, even if it was just an associate's degree, he didn't care. He wanted me to get some sort of paper. He did not want me to end up, he would say end up like him working in a plant. But in my mind, I was like, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you my dad. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I looked at it. And so I got a job working at the same plant that he was working at, which was a mill up in Graniteville, South Carolina. I think it used to be called Graniteville Mill, but then it turned into Avondale Mills. But anyway, so I got a job there, and I thought I was balling. You know what I'm saying? And my dad would always say, "There ain't no money, son." I was like, "Man, I'm balling." He said, "It's because you live here." I didn't realize I'm balling because I'm staying in your house, right? I didn't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was working overtime. I was making like $350 a week. I said, "Oh man, making $350." I'm killing it, man. I got nice little car rims. So, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? My dad would always tell me, "Man, you can't take in no family with that." I was like, "Man, I hear you, but I'm balling." You know what I'm saying? So I stayed there. You know what I'm saying? Until I got a better job. But it's like, shout out to my dad. He always wanted better for us, but he just couldn't really articulate what that looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't sit us down and say, "Hey, listen, son, this is a lower paying job. If you go out here and get XYZ, then you're gonna have an opportunity to get a higher paying job." He couldn't really articulate that because that wasn't his journey. You know what I'm saying? So at least that's what I'm guessing. So I had to kind of learn that for myself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense though. So I want to talk about I want to kind of get into fatherhood, which it's still life, but it's kind of getting into the family side of things. I guess how old were you when you had your first child? Like what was that like?
Man, listen, I've been working since I was 16, man. I got my first job as soon as I was able to get a job, right? And before that, it's funny because I was cutting grass. Like I would push the lawnmower around the neighborhood. Like I had this hustler mentality. Like I was like, man, I know dad making $250, but if I cut grass, like I can get these Jordans, I can get these Air Force Ones that I wanted. So I would cut grass in the neighborhood. So really, I say I got my first real job at 16, but me and one of my buddies, childhood best friend at the time, we had lawnmowers and we would go around the neighborhood and cut grass. And so like every summer I might make like $700-800. This is a kid being like maybe like 10 years old. Like I might make like $500-600 for the whole summer. And back then, that was a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go get Levi's, I can get, Nikes, and
you finally got that label you was looking for.
I got labels now. You know what I'm saying? Like mama couldn't buy me no labels, and mama would always say, "Well, if you want them labels, go out there and get a job." Hey, say less. Like I didn't mind working. You know what I'm saying? So long as I can take the lawnmower, long as I can take daddy lawnmower around the neighborhood, and do my thing, and that's what I did.
It wasn't even your lawnmower.
Huh?
It wasn't even your lawnmower. It was your daddy's.
No.
This is odd. This is weird a little bit because I liked what you answered, but the question I had asked was, well, how old was you when you had your first daughter? Your first child.
My first job.
I said child. I can't talk. Come on now. I said child.
My bad. My first child. Okay, I'm sorry. I had my first child when I was. I gotta think back now. I was 22. Yeah, it's 22.
Okay. And when you heard the news, how did it make you feel? Like, what were you at in life? How did that change you at all, if at all, at that time?
Listen, man, when I had my first daughter, I couldn't even walk. I had got into a really bad car accident probably a year prior to my first wife getting pregnant. We were dating at the time, but I had got into a real bad car accident, and I couldn't walk for probably about 9 months. And but she come by the house, and I was staying with my mom at the time. I couldn't walk, but I
about to say something worked. What we got going on here?
Like I said, I was all in, man. Once I got, so
we gotta relax.
So I mean, so she ended up getting pregnant. My girlfriend at the time, who I eventually ended up marrying. But like I was 22 years old. Soon as she got pregnant, I thought back to my dad's story with my mom. My dad was like, I wanted your mother to be with me. And so you don't hear this a lot. My dad was like, I got her pregnant because she was trying to go off to college, and I was trying to make sure she didn't go nowhere because I knew I couldn't go nowhere because I dropped out of school, but I know she liked me, so I was like, I'm gonna get her pregnant. I got her pregnant, and she didn't go off to school. And so I was like, okay, well, he was just saying that was the right thing to do. Like, and then once she got pregnant, I had to marry her because back then, you got a girl pregnant, you had to marry her, back in my dad days. And so I kind of like felt the same way. So once I got my girlfriend pregnant, I felt like, oh, we need to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the right thing to do.
just I'm sorry, but I have that because you said because it sounded like he trapped her a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we say today's slang, but I don't want to come off like disrespectful.
Yeah, no, I mean, shout out to my dad, man. He was the first trapper that I ever seen.
First trapper that I ever seen. Yeah, shout out to him, man. Look, I'm saluting him right now. But at the same time, is that what you think you had to do? Did you feel like because you couldn't walk that you had to trap her?
I didn't trap her. We was just, people will say, well, I wasn't, I didn't. This baby was an accident. Nah, if you ain't using protection, it's on purpose. So I wasn't really trying to get her pregnant.
But you couldn't walk.
I mean, I couldn't walk. You might not believe this, but you don't have to walk to make babies.
No, I know that. I would hope not. You just gotta, But I was saying because she could walk though. She could go where she goes.
Right, for sure.
Did you think she was doing something different? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you 21, 22. So I'm being real.
This is what I would say at that time. After getting in that accident, I had low self-esteem. I was like, man, because here's the thing. Before I got into the accident, I was supposed to be going to the Air Force. So I was getting ready to leave to go out to San Antonio to start basic training. And I got into the accident the day before that. So I'm in the hospital for, I don't know, maybe a week. And so Air Force came to the hospital to make me sign medical discharge paperwork. Because they didn't want to be liable for none of this, now that I'm all, broken up and stuff, right? So I think the thing with my ex, I had very low self. I said, man, this girl gonna leave me. So I wasn't really trying to get her pregnant.
It sound like
it's kind of sounding that way, but maybe I was. I'm trying to think back. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's funny because you told me, but I thought back to my dad's story. That was your dad's story.
Yeah, for sure,
I was trying to figure out where we was going with it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. This is a revelation for me now. But
I mean, I know you today can't think of having low self-esteem.
For sure.
You don't exude that.
But I definitely had.
I can't even see you.
I know, right?
With low self-esteem.
I know. Me neither. But I definitely had low self-esteem after that accident. I couldn't walk. You know what I'm saying?
And you had just got it back. Because you got it back at 18, I'm assuming, right? Around 18, you kind of got it back. You said you knew you liked what you like, and you started doing your own thing, and then boom, the accident.
Yeah. The accident just changed everything for me.
Was it a car accident? Or was it? What kind of accident?
It was a car accident.
You was driving?
No, I was a passenger in a head-on collision, and then it was a bend in the curve, and so it was a head-on collision, and then another car came around and hit us again. So, but I was the only one who didn't walk away. Everybody else walked away. Everybody was good, but I was the only one. And my friends thought I was dead because of the way the car was. They thought I was, because I was unresponsive. But I woke up a few days later in the hospital. But the journey of rehab and everything. So, because I had a torn Achilles tendon.
Did you play sports?
I thought I did. That's the thing about when you start growing up, you realize, man, you
gotta chill.
bro, you thought you could ball. You know what I'm saying? Like I was one of them fake ballers. You know what I'm saying? I was the guy who had all the socks and all the stuff. Man,
you had the gear.
I didn't sitting on the bench. So I thought I was an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh boy.
But I was active though. You know what I'm saying? Like I would play ball and stuff. Even when I was an adult, like I would go down to the court, play ball and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was a pretty active guy. So of course, after this accident, I had 2 ACL surgeries. I had a reconstructive ankle surgery, and a torn Achilles, dislocated shoulder, some other injuries, and so so it took me some back then, especially. I mean, medicine was different back then, so it took me some time just to even be able to walk around and move like I needed to move. Like I said, you can't really always tell now, but it was a long journey, and I had low self-esteem, man. I really did. And so my girlfriend at the time, she still was with me, so I was like, man, she would always come over and check on me. I was staying with my parents, but she would always come over and do things to help me out or whatever. And I'm always grateful for that experience because she could have just been like, this dude can't walk no more, whatever. Because I didn't know if I was going, a lot of times you had these kind of accidents and these injuries, doctors will tell you like, oh, it's only like an X amount of % chance that you're going to be able to do X, Y, Z, right? So I just didn't know. A lot of this is about your mindset, right? So, so I was going to MCG Sports Medicine just to learn how to walk again, right? And, I don't know, man. I was pretty down on myself because I really thought I was going to the Air Force. Because one of my good friends at the time, who has since retired from the Air Force, he was the one that inspired me to want to go in the Air Force. And so I was like, man, I'm going to the Air Force to change my life, get out from around all this riffraff, and I'm gonna have this great life. I had this thing mapped out of my head. So when the accident happened, I'm dealing with the depression of not just the accident, but the future that I had already projected in my head. You know what I mean? So all this stuff is going on. And now I'm trying to learn how to walk again, but I ain't got my mind all the way into it because I'm like, man, my girl might leave me. I ain't gonna be able to go in the Air Force. What if I never walk again?
So everything looks down, nothing looks up.
Yeah, everything looks down, man. But what I will say is that I had God. I had faith. And that was probably the biggest thing that got me through that, faith in my family. You know, faith and family. I was staying with my mom and my dad, so they was always encouraging. They never they never let me be like too down. If I needed to be moving my legs or whatever, they made sure I did my exercises and stuff like that. So shout out to them for making sure that I didn't give up on me. You know what I'm saying?
So I know you said you had the first child. So back in a certain time period, when you had kids, you end up having a wife, or you get married. So what went into that? Like, was it more so I have a kid now, so
it was
I need
definitely
to get married?
It was 100%. That's why when I see these young folks,
I was madly in love, so I got to get married.
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, man, when she got pregnant, I thought it was just the right thing to do. I did. I think I thought I was in love, and that's a weird statement. I think I thought I was in love. Yeah, I think I thought I was in love.
It kind of go back to what you said earlier. It's not the same thing, but you know how you said sometimes people don't say certain things because they don't know it's wrong. Sometimes you don't second guess something because you don't know that's not what it really is. You think you're in love because maybe Tom, I've been with her for 2 years. This happened, and none of that really equates to love. It's not length of time. It's a feeling. It's something you feel. It's inside of you.
For sure. Like I said, I think that I was in a bad place, and I just, so when she got pregnant, I said, "Oh, this is an excuse for me to go ahead and at least I got her. At least I got,
damn.
You know what I'm saying?
God damn. At least I got.
I ain't going to the Air Force. You know what I'm saying? I'm scooting around in this wheelchair, but I got this girl pregnant. At least I know I got her. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have this baby, and we'll just figure the rest of this stuff out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's kind of how that went.
So I guess describe that. I anybody that follow your podcast, anybody that follow you knows you. I think most people kind of know the story, so we ain't gotta go like in depth there. But like, if you had to describe because you're married now as well, had to describe that marriage, how would you rate it 1 to 10? That's a good question.
Man,
rate it 1 to 10.
Man, that's not a good question, man. Here's the thing, man, and I said this on another interview one time when someone asked me about my first marriage, and and I got a little pushback from it, but I was just being honest. I said, I didn't really love her. I thought I did, right? I was in love with the concept of marriage, and and I thought it was the right thing to do. But looking back on it, I married her because of things that I was going through, because of feelings of insecurities and things that I was dealing with. I was not because once I got to a healthy place where I was able to move around and do things, I was okay. That's why you hear women say, well, when he was down and out, I had his back. Yeah, he was down and out. And so he was with you. Once he got up moving, he was like, oh, this ain't where I want to be at. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not what I thought it was. This is not really where I wanted to be at. When I was down, this is where I wanted to be at because I couldn't go nowhere. Now that I'm up, you ain't what I wanted. You're not what I want. And that's a hard thing for a woman to hear. But once I started moving around, I was like, this was a mistake. And shout out to her. I think she knew it was a mistake to begin with. She didn't want to get married to me. We had been dating for years, but it was a very tumultuous dating relationship.
When you asked her, she said no?
Initially.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
You asked more than once?
Yeah, I sure did.
Oh, yeah. You was a different Donald back then.
Yeah, man. It was a different Donald back then, man.
It's a different dough. Whoa.
Yeah, so I kind of had to almost talk her into it. You know what I'm saying? I can't even imagine doing something like that now. But yeah, I had to talk her into marrying me. I said, oh, man, we about to have a baby. That's the right thing to do. She was like, I don't know. Like, shout out to her, man. She knew it wasn't going to work. So I had to learn later on. That's why looking back on it now, I can say, like, I thought that this was, I thought this was going to sometimes you think a baby gonna change your life. You think a marriage gonna save your life. Only thing that's gonna save your life is you. And so once I got to a healthy place mentally, I was like, man, this ain't what I want. This ain't what I want out of life.
It makes a lot of sense. But I know even at that age, did you have a heavy outlook on family and what you wanted it to be, like as far as like your unit?
The only thing that I saw, my parents were married for almost 50 years before my dad passed of cancer. And so all I saw was a husband and a wife, a man and a woman, like stay together, work through things. And so because of that, I really couldn't fathom like me not being with my child's mother. I couldn't even fathom that. Like that wasn't even like something that even crossed my mind because I was raised up in a household like that. So, but then, like I say, the more you grow, you come to realize, like, sometimes some of these relationships that you see, they not, some of these situations are not the most ideal, right? They just stand together for the kids. And now you're raising kids up in an environment where they don't really see real love. At least that's how it was with me and my ex-wife. Like they didn't see what they needed to see, right? So me staying with you just because my parents stayed together, that's not gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you end up getting into these relationships because of the kids, and then you end up leaving because of the kids because I can't be the father that I need to be, being in this situation, right? So. But yeah, I thought marrying her was just the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, I will applaud her because I think she knew that like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Like she seen it early on,
Yeah.
But I was determined to try to make it work.
So with that, all right. So y'all get divorced, but during that, so at some point, not to put it out there like that, but you did drive trucks.
Yeah,
Am I mistaken?
Here's the thing, man. Like. And I drove trucks because I was working at, here a little backstory. So I was working a plant job. I was working at a plant, right? Had a pretty good job at this plant. And then 9/11 happened and everybody started laying off. Like all the big, good jobs in the area were laying everybody off because of the economy crashing. And during that time, the only people that were hiring seemed like was like nursing jobs and there was trucking jobs. I was like, I ain't gonna be no truck job, man. That's just for like dirty rednecks. So like, that's just that was what I was thinking at the time. I know that's ignorant now, but like at the time, that was my thought process. Man, I ain't driving no damn truck, man. I don't see no black people in trucks. But there was plenty of black people in trucks. I just didn't know. I hadn't seen none of that. I even had a cousin of mine had been driving trucks for a long time. I didn't even know. Great uncles had been in trucking business. I didn't know. So I just associated trucking with, just something other than a black person, right? So,
right.
But I kept looking for jobs and it was always trucking this, trucking that. So I said, man, you know what? So I ended up, while I was laid off, I took a job at a small plant, a temporary job at a small plant, and I was loading up trucks. This is how God worked. Like I was loading up trucks, and I would always talk to the truck drivers when I was loading them up, and I would ask them like what they thought about the trucking industry, and they were owner operators, so of course they were like, man, I love it. Trucking is great. Blah 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 blah. And so after doing this temp job for about 4 or 5 months, I had saved up enough money to get into CDL school. And so I ended up basically quitting the job. Actually, they fired me because I kept talking to the truck drivers. They was like, man, you supposed to be loading up trucks, but you always talk to the truck drivers. But I had something bigger going. I was like, nah, man, I'm about to get up out of here. This is just like a
stepping stone.
This is just a gap, you know what I'm saying? This is just a gap in my life right here. You know what I'm saying? There was guys on this job for like 40, 50 years. They was happy. And that's cool. I want everybody to do what they want to do, but I knew that I needed to do something a lot more than this because I was making like minimum wage on this plant job. I was making like $6 an hour. I was like, man, I had just got laid off from a job making probably 3 times that. So I'm just like per hour. And I was like, man, I can't, but I couldn't find a job. So I had to take a temp job just, until I could find something else. And me loading up these trucks every day and these truckers giving me game. And I was loading up these trucks every day. And the same truckers would come in and they would just, they would just tell me like what the game was about. And so I was supposed to be loading up other stuff and moving stuff around but I'm over here talking to truckers all day. And the guy's like, I done told you this like 3-4 times. Like, and I was like, I don't care. Dude, you literally not paying me enough to care. Like you, if you fire me, it's not a big difference between 0 and 6. So I'm gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I kept learning from the truckers until they fired me. And I went straight to CDL school, and the rest is history as far as trucking.
What was that like though? Because I hear a lot of stories about the trucking thing. See, for me, like having a family and then you driving trucks. So like, were you like doing in Savannah, like going to Savannah, coming home, or you like going like really state to state type trucking?
Man, here's the thing about it. Like into trucking, my marriage is pretty much over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we stay together, but it's like a lot doesn't happen, right? So sometimes,
and at this point, you got, because I don't know how many kids you got in total, but this time you got 2 at this point.
So now I got 2 kids, right?
Okay.
I got 2 kids, right? But like I say, so much has happened in the marriage at this time. So when I get into trucking, it was in my mind, it was like, because me and her had pretty much like, we had separated. Before I went off the trucking, I said, you know, we tried to work it out, but the only reason why it lasted as long as it did is because I was gone. Sometimes you got to leave so you can stay. So basically, trucking allowed me to stay married to her for, I don't know, another like 5 years because I was gone.
That's a long time.
You know what I'm saying? Christ. So yeah, it's definitely a long time, but it's not a long time when you don't have to deal with somebody. You know what I'm saying? If I had to deal with her every day and she had to deal with me every day, it wouldn't have lasted probably another 6 months, because we had came to a point in the marriage where something had happened that really wasn't nothing we can really get past. But because I wasn't home all the time, we didn't even really talk about it because I wasn't home as much until I was. When I first started off in trucking, I was a company driver for 1 year. Then I got my own truck after a year. And then I started getting dedicated routes and stuff. Now I'm home more. The more I'm home, the more I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and
real quick, it's not nothing specific, but because I feel like I've been somewhere like that. So like, and I want to know from your perspective, like, what do you do? Like when it's something that you just you know in your heart of hearts, like, I can't get past this. Like this nothing I can get past. Like, how do you even move around that? You know, like what kind of conversation is that to have? Because that's, but men, we could put up a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna tell you the first conversation that you have. I can tell you about men. I think women do the same thing. First of all, I need you to give me permission to stay with you. I need you to tell me something that's gonna make me feel good about, what has happened. So I'm looking for you to tell me something that's make me have a reason to stay here, right? Because I want to stay. You just give me a reason. It ain't even got to be no good one. Just tell me something like, oh, man, he didn't hit it from the back. Just something that's going to make me stay here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to give me something. It ain't even got to be nothing major. Just something. And I'm going to stay because I want to stay. I'm looking for a reason to stay. You know what I'm saying? So, she obliged me and told me what I needed to hear to make me feel good. And, and that gave me permission to stay when I know I should have been leaving. You know what I'm saying? I know I should have been leaving. But I wanted to stay because, I was a coward. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a coward. I wasn't strong enough to like just say, hey, you know what? I'm better than this. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't strong enough to say that. So she gave me an out and I took it. You know what I'm saying? So, because I was looking for an out. And I think a lot of times in relationships, people are looking for outs. They're looking for, like, oh man, he told me something that I needed to hear just so I can stay in this situation. And that's because that's what I want to do anyway.
Yeah.
I want to be here. Even though I know I don't need to be here.
Yeah, so that's a lot. I'm writing it down for myself. I'm coming back to that, myself. And then, so from there, all right, yeah, so, y'all, I guess at some point, divorce, we know the stories, splits, nasty, this, that, and third. What is life like for you at that point? Because you still got the family dynamic mindset at that time, or was it like more so I'm just focused on Donald right now, F everything else? Like, what's the dynamic going through, whether it's the divorce or going through like trying to live life, trying to regain or get an identity for just who you are at this point now, but still living and being a father?
Here's the thing about marriages when they go bad. When marriages start going bad, there's a point in the marriage where you start to forget who you are, because you try to change who you are to appease someone else and try to make them happy. And so when I got out of that situation, I had to rediscover who I was, which that took about a year. Once me and her were no longer married, it took me about a year just to try to, get my bearings about myself and get over the trauma, which shout out to therapy. Therapy helped me. Because when I went to therapy after leaving my first wife, I went to therapy to talk trash about her. Like, oh man, she did me this way and did me that way and did this to me, and did that to me. I ain't taking no responsibility for nothing. Like, I didn't. This was all her. She did all these bad things to me, and that therapist, she put it all back on me. Because clearly I didn't think enough of myself because I'm in this situation with things that I know are not right, but I'm still here. Like, what about you? Like, what did you learn from all of that, Donald? Oh, I learned that women ain't this. That's how women do. Oh, all these. No, so I'm all on that. Like, oh, women ain't this and that. That's what I learned. No, that's not what you're supposed to be learning. You know what I'm saying? So then I learned that, first of all, I didn't even love Donald no more. You know what I'm saying? I stayed as long as I did, and I devalued myself because I didn't love me no more. So I'm letting all these things happen. And so, of course, they're going to keep happening because one thing about relationships, when someone does you a certain type of way, or you do them a certain type of way, you basically have created an environment for these things to foster, and they just can't keep happening. And you're thinking in your mind, oh, it ain't gonna happen no more. Nah, you don't create an environment for these things to continue to happen to you. And so I did. Once I started to accept that, I was, oh man, they don't let me figure out the key to life. Like it's just certain things I shouldn't be tolerating.
Right. That's a great answer. 'Cause I think that same thing when you going through something, instead of like putting it all on somebody else, you have to see like, okay, well, why did I start allowing this? How did I start allowing it? What did I overlook? Not that you necessarily did something, but like you said, you created an environment for certain things to happen. So you got to check yourself as well, because if not, then you would still be talking about her right to this day. Yeah. F that, F women, F. You wouldn't be nowhere where you at today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
when you see women that are always saying that, or even guys, they haven't healed.
Yeah.
Like they're dealing with some unresolved trauma. And therapy helped me. Like I ain't got no animosity towards her at all. Like when I got out of therapy way back then, I was like, yo, this is on me. Like this is all my fault. Like as far as what I need to be owning, because I can only control me. I can't control nobody else. So what can I do differently moving forward to make sure that I'm not in these kind of situations, right? So focus on Donald, man. But I think sometimes we want to focus on other people because that's a lot easier. Focusing on yourself and changing yourself, oh, that's hard work right there, man. But bashing somebody else, talking about what they did or they didn't do, that's a lot easier to do. You know what I'm saying? And it feels good. It feels good. But I think you always had this clip, like, you gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. And that's really working on you. And once you really kind of accept that, hey, I gotta do the work of working on Donald. And that's when things really changed for me. Once I realized that it all begins and ends with me.
So I got a quick question. This is on a tangent, but like, what if anything could you do better as a father? Or could you have done better as a father? And I'm asking that because you said you had to work on Donald, so I'm assuming that even working on Donald meant like it might have been father. I don't know. It could be something different. But was there anything in life that maybe you kind of like fell short on at times? You feel like I could have did that differently. I could have changed that. I know. After that Donald is amazing. But that Donald I'm talking about, like going through that phase, going through that time.
No, man, I think I had to go through that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't regret anything that I've gone through. I think that people have to listen, man. I couldn't appreciate a Michael Doe if I didn't have my first wife. You know what I'm saying? You don't appreciate the ups until you've been down. You know what I'm saying? So I love that I went through that, man. So when people see me and my wife, they don't even understand like the love that I have for this woman. But it's because I've seen the flip side of that, right? And I've been there. And I'm glad that I was there because I don't take it for granted. So I wake up every day being about the business of loving that woman because I know what the other side of that looks like, right? So I wouldn't do anything any different. I mean, everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. And I was supposed to heal. See, you can't heal unless you've been traumatized. So I appreciate the trauma because it gave me a chance to heal. And that healing put me in a position of power. And so now I'm in full control. you don't have the Donald Doe that you have today without the Donald Doe of yesterday. So I'm thankful for all of that, man. Like I got no regrets, man. Like literally none.
Well, let's talk about Michael. Like, talk about meeting her and how was that? I mean, I heard the story a bunch of times, but I want to hear it again. You know, talk about meeting her. She wants to hear it too. So talk about meeting her and how that shaped and changed your life. And
well, I mean, here's the thing, man. Like when me and my first wife were going through a divorce, I fought for custody, which you already got the deck stacked against you trying to get custody of kids, right? But I fought for custody, and initially I settled on joint custody, and she was the primary custodian, right? Initially, but I didn't like the way I didn't like the situation she would have my kids in. And you know how some fathers, they just be complaining, they get on social media, my baby mama won't blah. I wasn't gonna do all of that. I ain't gonna do no complaining. I see you in court. And that's just how I was moving, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like she would just get a letter in the mail, you gotta go to court. Yeah, because I want custody. I don't like the way, I done told you, I ain't gonna tell you too many times. I done told you I don't like, whatever you got around my kids, they girls. Like you got them in different situations that I'm just not comfortable with. So I see you in court. I ain't gonna keep talking to you about this. You ain't gonna keep telling me, oh, well, I do what I want to do with my kids. Them ain't your kids. Them our kids.
Yeah.
Right? And I ain't gonna keep telling you, that's it. I'm done talking about it. Like, but most men just gonna run their mouth. I'm not gonna do that. And clearly she didn't know who she was playing with. And I'm just like, I may not always be your husband, but I'm always gonna be their father. And so it's just certain things I'm just not gonna tolerate as a father. And so, but the system, I learned a lot about the system going through that process. They can't wait to put you on child support. But if you want to get visitation and custody, now you got to spend thousands of dollars, dealing with the system. But I was willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I eventually, after 2 years of her having sole custody, I actually won, custody of the kids. And so when I was single and I was dating, it was funny because like, I only dated when I didn't have the kids. I only, hung out when I didn't have the kids. So I was getting the kids every other weekend before I got full custody. And so the weekends that I had the kids, I didn't, it was just me and the girls. Because I already felt like they already was in this divorce. And now you got your daddy or your mama out there trying to live their life too. No. To me, I forfeited the right to do that once we got that divorce. So now they got to be made a priority. So like when she had them, she was doing whatever she was doing. But when I had them my weekend, like it was all about them, right? We would just daughter date, just doing our thing. Then when I met Michael, when I first met Michael, I didn't have custody. It was still shared custody. And I only saw Michael on the weekends that I didn't have the kids, right? So I was with Michael for probably, I don't know, I guess almost a year before she got introduced to the kids. I had to make sure that this was real. See, when you got kids and like when you a real parent, like you don't just bring randoms around your kids. Like I don't, I mean, you cool and everything, but like, I had to make sure that it was something that was real. And so Michael was the first female that I had ever just dated that even had met the girls. And which was a big deal. I think they even knew, oh man, this must be something serious. The daddy bringing her around, you know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't know for sure. I felt like it was, but shout out to Michael, man. She hung in there because I was trying to get rid of her. Mainly because because I knew I was gonna fight for custody, like because I hadn't had custody yet, and I told her, I said, listen, I like you, we kicking it, we have a great relationship. I'm gonna introduce you to the girls and everything, but I'm gonna fight for custody of my kids at some point. I don't know. How much further this gonna go between me and you. But shout out to her. She was like, she told me straight up, she said, you need a good woman. I ain't going nowhere. Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, she ain't smart. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, this is gonna be bad, man. Like, this gonna be a lot of drama, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to her, man. Like she hung through all of that. Because once we got married, we decided, we were gonna have one child. So we planned. We actually planned Donald. So she got off birth control. We planned Donald, and so she got pregnant. And I remember telling her, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and file for custody of the girls too." So that's what I did. We was married. I filed for custody of the kids, And that was rough, man. It was a whole rough process actually because once I filed for custody, and I got a guardian ad litem involved to kind of like kind of make a decision as to which household was more fit for the kids. The whole process of fighting for custody, especially for a man, can be very intimidating. You know what I'm saying? So, but I knew that the deck was stacked against me to some degree, but I was willing to fight. I was always one of these fathers like, I'd rather fight and lose than to not fight at all.
No, I 100% agree.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of fathers tell me, "Oh man, you ain't gonna win. That's gonna be fathers don't never get." I say, "Hey man,
let me find out."
Yeah, let me find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna lose, and then that way, if things keep going the way they going with their mom, they gonna know. You know what, man? My dad didn't get custody, but my dad was fighting for us, though, man.
Yeah.
Like that's how I tell these fathers, man. Like, fight for your rights, man. Like, don't just be like, 20 years later, when your kid is all messed up, you like, well, your mama wouldn't let me see you. Bro, that's not gonna cut it, bro. That's not gonna cut it. They ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll hear you, but they don't know, they're not trying to hear that. They deserve better than that. Kids deserve better than that. So if you're in a situation and you a man and you got kids, fight for your kids, man. Fight for your rights. Even if you're not trying to fight for custody, fight for your rights. And I was just big on that. Even, when me and her first even got a divorce, I was like, yo, what you're not gonna do is stop me from seeing my kids. So we're gonna, you can say you're gonna do that, but I have my lawyer have everything in writing. When I didn't have custody, on my weekend to get the kids, I'll come over there with my paperwork. But sometimes I get drama. Oh, the kids don't feel like coming this weekend. Lady, I did not ask you if them kids feel like coming. If you don't bring my kids outside, I'm going to call Richmond County. Sometimes I had to call Richmond County. You know what I'm saying? But, it was what it was. But I had the paperwork because I paid the cost. And some fathers will tell me, well, you shouldn't have to do that. No, you shouldn't. But it's not about what you should or shouldn't have to do. Like, you do what you have to do. You do what's necessary.
Right.
But at that period of time, after me and Michael had been married, I finally decided, listen, man, I'm gonna go ahead and fight for custody, man. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And are you sure because I told her before we got married that I was gonna do it, that I was gonna fight for custody. But once we got married, I still asked her again, like, hey, this is what I'm about to do. I want to make sure that you're okay with that. And she stood behind me 110%. Like, by then she had already seen how messy my ex could be and stuff like that. She had already seen some of the stuff, but she knew what she signed up for. That's the thing about relationships. Like, you'll be dating someone, you'll marry them, and then put stuff on them, right? And then you'll get mad when they don't accept it, but you didn't tell them ahead of time. Like, I told them we was dating. I said, I'm going to get custody of my kids. I don't know if you want to deal with that or not. So once we got married and I brought it up again, like, hey, I'm going to try to get full custody of my kids. Like, shout out to her. Like, she remembers, you know what? You told me that. I signed up for this.
Right, yeah, I signed up for it.
So it's hard to have resentment for something that you signed up for. So shout out to her. I mean, I guess she still could have had resentment, but she didn't. And so we went through that whole process, which was nasty. But in the end, all the stuff that I had to go through, I got custody, I raised the girls, and they're much better off for it.
What about because it's hard because I know a lot of the story, so it's like I feel like sometimes no point in me asking because I already know. I know they don't know, but I feel like watch the old episode. I'm going to tell you, right? Or watch your episode because some of the things you talk about in depth, some things you do talk about in depth. But I was going to ask more so, looking at your first marriage, what made you know this second one was going to be right? This is the one. This is what love felt like.
Listen, you just said something. But how did you know the second time that this was going to be the one? I didn't know this was going to be the one. By then, I was the one. See, once you become the one, you ain't looking for the one. The problem with my first marriage, I was looking for the one. But see, by the time I got to the second marriage, I'm the one. I'm a different. It's me. I'm him. So when I'm out here talking to the girls, I'm looking for her. When I met Michael, I found her. You put her with him, you got them. And we're going to win together. So you find you a woman that loves herself, not a woman you got to build. See, my first marriage, it was like Build-A-Bear. You know what I'm saying? And there was never enough pieces to build the bear.
Yeah.
So you start to grow as an individual and you realize, oh, you know what, man? Let me work on me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me become healed. Let me become strong. Let me love me. And let me go find someone else to love themselves. So I found someone that loved themselves. I love myself. Now we can love each other. So when I met Michael, it was a whole different vibe. Like we was friends. Like we was kicking it. It was cool. We talked about everything. It was like easy to talk to her. Because I think that most of the time it's the man that don't really like to be vulnerable. But like I was like, yo, I'm gonna tell you everything about me. We're gonna talk about it all. I'm gonna talk about my, stuff that I'm, scared about, all this stuff that I'm, maybe things that I'm fearful of or whatever. And she shared her stuff with me and we talked about it all.
But at this point, you're not so down on yourself at this moment either. So
at this point in my life, you can't tell me nothing. Like this was pre-free game Don D. Like this was the pre-workout of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really feeling who I'm becoming.
Mind, body, and soul. You all.
Yeah, man. Like I'm feeling who I'm becoming. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm walking with an air of confidence. Like when I walk in to whatever spot, like I'm him. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm him. You know what I'm saying? And so I ain't, I'm looking for her, right? And I'm not really looking. I'm just here chilling. When I met Michael, it was really kind of by accident. She was there with her girlfriends, and they was at the spot. They was like celebrating. She was celebrating one of her girlfriend's birthday, and one of her girlfriends was actually trying to talk to me, and and I love her because they still friends. But I was like, nah, I'm just, I'm not really interested. I mean, I'm looking at Michael the whole time. I'm like, man, that's kind of what I'm interested in. But she wasn't looking at me, you know what I'm saying? But I was looking at her and I said, you know what? Ain't no worries. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just, So we ended up being at the same spot 3 nights in a row. And shout out to Michael. Like, she's a very strong-willed woman, man. I don't know if it's that New York stuff, but like, she just walked up to me and just started, Michael really got me. I didn't get her. She got me.
I watched the show, so I seen that episode. I know exactly what happened. So it's funny you talking around a little bit, but yeah, I understand. That's funny though.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Michael, man. I had never been with a woman that was aggressive about what they wanted, and so she knew what she wanted out of life, and she decided she wanted me. And
that must have been a good mesh though, because you said she's aggressive about what she wanted out of life, but you are also a very like your father. I'm assuming like you're a very stern person as well. Sometimes like you know what you want as well, especially at that time. So how did that work with her being aggressive about what she wants, but you also being aggressive about what you want? So like now which one do we take? Like like who gonna say, all right, you take the lead, and then and how does that work? Now we see it. Yes, I see it very vividly. But I mean, when it first, because y'all both, like you said, she's her, you him. Y'all trying to be them, right? So how we gonna get to them?
Well, I think at the time I didn't really know it was gonna get to them, so I just knew that I was confident in who I was. She was confident in who she was. We were together for 3 years before we got married, and we dated for I don't know about 1.5 years before we got engaged, and we had to figure it out, man, because Michael was used to dealing with guys that she kind of had to carry. You know what I'm saying? Guys that yeah, I know that sounds bad, but I'm just saying.
Nah, you got a good knack for pointing out when guys are just soft or weak. It's just funny when you talk about it, but keep going.
Yeah, so she was used to dealing with guys that she had to carry. She had never been with someone like me, and I was used to dealing with women that I had to carry. Right, and so. Putting us two together, like we kind of shout out to her, man. Like she allowed me to lead. You know what I'm saying? I think as a man, you want to be like, oh, I just became the leader. Nah, Michael, I always say this about her. She's strong enough to lead, but secure enough to follow. So after being with me for a little bit, she realized what kind of man I was. She was like, okay, first of all, I can't see him when he got the kids. So she respected that off the top because see, she come from a background like that where her grandmother raised her. Mm-hmm. Her mom and her dad they were not the parents that
right.
She felt like they should have been. These are her words, not mine. So she felt like when her parents did have an opportunity to see her, that they didn't take full advantage of it because they were doing other things, right? And so seeing me as a single father at the time, when I had the kids, my weekend, tell her, well, listen, I got the kids. I'm picking them up on Friday. We're gonna be together Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm taking them back Sunday evening. We can kick it Sunday evening, but Friday and Saturday, like these are girls. Like I can't be bringing another girl around them. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be, jealous of that. Like
you possess the attribute that she wished her parents had at a point.
Yeah, so she shout out to her, man. Like she respected that. She told me from the jump, like, yo, Donald, I respect that because I wish my parents would have put me first like that. So
sorry, you said something earlier, and I like your answer earlier too, but I just feel like it's a little deeper answer. But like you said, y'all was together a year and a half before you got engaged, right? Just think about, right, you buying a ring, right? So you about to ask her to marry you. What was it about her or y'all relationship during that 6 months? Not even the first year, the 6 months. You said she met him after a year. So during that 6 months, and I know for a fact that they weren't very receptive of her.
No, they definitely wasn't. It's really just the oldest one. It's always the oldest one, So,
but she had like you, they say. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I will tell you this though, man. Like what I loved about Michael is that she continued to play her part, no matter what. She played her part, and she, because his thing, just like with women, like if you're a man with kids, like I know you got kids, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a package deal.
Definitely.
Like she took the package. Like, when I said, hey, Michael, I got to go school shopping for the girls. Oh, let me go too. And she would help me purchase clothes. She was all in. After that year when she was able to come around the kids and we were, I was trying to get the kids acclimated to who she was and, hey, this is somebody that's going to be in daddy's life. So I want y'all to get to know her or whatever. Like what really made me fall for Michael and ask her to marry me was, of course, the way she carried herself, but also the fact that she respected and didn't impede my ability to be the kind of father I wanted to be. Like she didn't, because I had dated some women prior to that. They was like, the kids thing was kind of, it was a little weird to them. Yeah. And I was like, okay, but that's fine. I mean, you ain't for me because I got kids. I mean, so we're not, so it is what it is. But Michael totally embraced it. She totally embraced my time with the girls, and knowing that she could not come in between that time. It's almost like that made her be more attracted to me. You know what I'm saying? So, but after a year of not coming around the kids, when she did start coming around the kids, just the way she, loved the kids and, dealt with a lot of stuff. Because now, here's the thing, when you're dealing with your ex, the exes are not a problem until they see you really moved on.
And happy.
Yeah, and now it's a problem, you know what I'm saying? So then, of course, we had to deal with some of that kind of stuff, but she just... Michael is the nicest, nastiest person that I know. That's why I love her. Like for me, I might tell somebody just straight up, like, you're fired or what. Michael gonna be like, well, listen, I don't think that we no longer need your services because you violated certain... she's just gonna be super professional, man. That's why I love her, man. Like she handled everything, whether it was with the kids, whether it was with my ex or anybody, she handled it like a straight up, like a G. It's almost like she knew she had the power. Like she knew she had the power, so if I got the power, why am I getting all upset? Like I'm all irate, but she was always cool, and I was really attractive to the way she handled things. Yeah, so and that really like drew me in, and so when I asked her to marry me, like I was marrying a whole way of doing things. The way she handled business was just, with the kids, with my ex, and if she handled everything with grace, no matter what you said to her, my ex could call her all kind of names. She'd be like, all right, have a good day. Like, damn, you don't want, what I'm saying? Like, and she'd be mad now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but my ex would never know it.
Did you know that she was going to say yes when you asked her? Did you feel like she was going to say yes? Did you have to convince her?
No, I ain't have to convince her, man. Nah, man. So, I have to convince her, man. That's a good question. But no, Michael, I could have probably asked Michael to marry me a year earlier, and she probably would have did it, right? But like she was all in, man. So she was all in on me before I was all in on her. It took me a little because I had the kids, I had baggage, and I would tell her like Michael, when we were dating, I'll tell her, Michael, listen, I feel like you're too good for this. That's what I would tell her. I was like, I feel like we should break up because I feel like you're too good for this. Because I know what I'm about to be dealing with when I go fight for custody. I know it's going to be, drama. And I just, you ain't got no kids. you got a good life, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying, like,
hey, that's funny. Having no kids is having a good life.
you got a good life over here, man. You don't want to be dealing with this, man. So but she was just like, nah, man. You deserve a good woman, Donald. Like, man, something wrong with you. But like, shout out to her, man. Like, she was just dedicated. She was locked in, man. She knew what she wanted from the first time she seen me out. But for me, I mean, I wanted her, but I felt like I had so much baggage, right? And I didn't want to subject her to all of that.
What about like the blended family? Like how, if at all, difficult was that like some of the barriers you have to overcome with having that blended family?
Yeah, man, having a blended family is very tough. Because especially when everybody don't get along, right? Meaning that, like, if me and my ex got along, which I got along with her, but she didn't get along with me. So if we and her had an amicable relationship, then I think it would have been fine. But the problem is now when the kids are with us, they're in one environment, then they go over there, then it's like, oh, she thinks she your mama and all this kind of, all this negativity. Yeah. Then they come back and it take us a few days to get them back, get that mess out of their head and get them back on board to where you live at. You live here.
Yeah.
Don't get effed up messing with your mama. You was over there for the weekend. Now you back. This is where you live at. So just get your mind right now. Don't let mama get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't live with mama. You know what I'm saying? So don't so it was a little bit. And here's the thing about me though, like when it came to the kids, like I dealt with everything. Like I never put my Kale in a situation where she had to deal with the kids disciplinary wise.
Yeah, right.
Like even if she saw something, I said, let me say it. They can be mad at me. I'm their daddy.
Yeah, what's new?
Yeah, I don't care about you being mad at me. You know what I'm saying? But when the stepmama does stuff or the stepdad does stuff, now there's friction in the house, right? Mm-hmm. So every time something needed to be said, I said it. Like I never put my kid in a situation where she had to, to get any negative backlash from the kids. Now, of course, she still got some, but it was really more so like what do they call it? Like collateral damage, you know what I'm saying? So she caught some strays, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't for nothing that she did because I did everything when it comes to anything that needed to be said to the kids. Anytime I know needed to be said, let me say it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of that, like, do you have like, I guess it sounds like boundary setting. Like, is that something that you do? Like, it's something that is a thing where like, okay, well, with family, like we're gonna do this, but we're not gonna do this. This is when it's going too far. Whether it be immediate family or like, I guess like uncles, cousins, sisters, I don't know, brothers, whatever.
Do I have boundaries?
I guess like you said, one boundary, I guess, for what Mikhail was like, I'll discipline them.
Right.
You ain't gotta do that. So is that something you set forth in your whole family?
Yeah. Like when me and Mikhail got married, like I told her, we talked about all this stuff. Like I said, hey, listen, before we got married, actually, I said, hey, when it comes to the kids, I'll make sure that I do all these things. I don't want you subjected to certain things. I don't want any kind of drama. And we're gonna do things a certain type of way. Like a lot of the things that we dealt with, no matter, even though they were kind of rough, like we talked about it prior to us getting married. Because I know I'm bringing a family together, and I said, well, anything you do, it's gonna be like, I want you to be like, oh, your dad told me, we got to do X, Y, Z,
right,
or whatever. Then that way, it ain't like you saying it. It's like, no, your dad said I got to do X, Y, Z.
And I want to kind of bounce both now, family and business though. Like, how did your career affect you as a father? Like, whether it change for the better, make you look at things differently? Like, how does your career affect you as a father?
Well, here's the thing, man. As a over the road truck driver, I should not have been able to get custody. And I think my ex was banking on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, man, this dude drives trucks. He ain't gonna be able to get custody. But so what happened was the judge, he basically, when I was fighting for custody, now by this time, me and Michael are married. And I think that some men may, or even some women may look at it like, well, if you driving trucks and she home every day, then you can just keep driving trucks and then they can just be there with Michael. And so I knew that was probably the perception that maybe my ex was looking at. So what I would do is early on in the custody situation, they gave her 1 week and they gave me 1 week when we were fighting for custody, right? And so the week that I had them, I didn't work because I own my own rig. So what I would do is when she had custody, I would work that week. But the week that I got custody, I would take off. So I didn't put that on my Kel.
Gotcha.
Like I didn't have her taking the kids back and forth to school. Like I woke up in the morning, took them to school, picked them up. I did it all because I had to show the court that I could be the kind of father that can get all these things done for my kids, right? So when we went to court to get the final decision, like I got all these things working in my favor now, but I still, you know, it was still an uphill battle. But there was some other things that my lawyer was able to kind of put together that really helped me get custody. But like I realized that trucking was fine, but I had to continue to like be off more. Like because I own my truck, and this is what I tell a lot of guys about money. Money is not about buying things. Money is about making sure no one can buy you. So basically, you know, I would manage my money in a way that I could be home a lot more. And I even say this in my insurance business, like I'm all about buying time, freedom, flexibility. And so the reason why I was able to get custody of my kids is because when I was fighting for custody, you know, I had already got to a place mentally. When we talk about wealth, this is your mindset when it comes to money, right? I had realized that money is not about buying things. It's about making sure nobody can buy you. And by that, I mean that trucking in my career can't come before my kids, right? So when I got custody, oh man, I might be off 3-4 weeks. I may be off the whole month. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not concerned about the dollar. I'm also concerned about time with my kids. But I put myself in position. People say, oh man, Don, you got it made. I put myself in position to have it made. You don't just have it made, bruh. I'm in position because I put myself here. Oh man, you blessed. Oh, no. You make blessings. Blessings don't fall out the sky, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So you put yourself in position to get custody and to be home with your kids and to be an active father. That's work. Right. And so, and I knew that's what I wanted to be. So I was doing work before, you know, I put in the paperwork to get full custody. Like I had already set it up. I said, you know what? When I get custody, this is what I'm going to do. I had already planned it out in my head. If I had to quit trucking and take something else, I had no worries. What I'm not going to do is show the court that I can't be here to raise these kids. Right. Because I know that's the first thing they're going to say. Oh man, you drive trucks. Man, how you going to raise kids? They couldn't say that again. They couldn't say that with me. Like, hey, man, he took them to school. So because they give you like a month or so to kind of, you know, they kind of go between homes. So so they was with her for a week, me for a week, and me and my kid for a week. And the week that I had them, like I said, I was doing everything for the kids, right? Because I was showing that I could do it. Not that my kid could do it. I mean, she's not the mother. I'm the parent. So, and they didn't tell me to do this. I just felt like it was important to do it.
So like you mentioned, like people say, you know, you got it made. Like, tell me a time in your career where you felt like giving up. Was that, or if there ever was a time that you felt like things wasn't clicking, it wasn't going right, it wasn't going in your favor. You're trying, but it ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. Was there ever a time in your career you felt that way, like this ain't it, it ain't working? Yeah.
Listen, man, I had a situation where I was fighting for custody of the kids, and I remember there was a moment where I definitely felt like, man, this isn't working out. And the reason that I felt that for a moment is because I had to deal with some outlandish, you know, allegations while I was fighting for custody. I ain't gonna say I think. My ex saw that I was about to get awarded custody. And so as a last minute effort to try to like, you know, I guess salty my case, she come up with these outlandish allegations. And man, I got charged with 2 felony counts of child molestation on a Friday, which was the Monday before I was supposed to go to court, where I was about to get awarded custody. We had a great case. I knew we was gonna wrap it up. But, you know, she put these false allegations on me. And I remember, like, so that prolonged the case for like another 6 months. I couldn't even talk to the kids. I couldn't see them or nothing. Because even though the allegations were outlandish as far as, I'm looking at it, but me and my lawyer, like, this is still a real allegation. So it's serious. Even though I know it's a lie, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's still a serious situation that we have to deal with. And so Gardner Lightham is involved again, talking to the kids, interviewing the kids. They come to find out the kids were coerced to say these things. But during the process, I did feel like, you know what, man, this ain't it, man. But now, honestly, she really put me in a situation where I had to fight. Now you don't put this dirt on my name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And put me in a situation where I gotta fight. Now, I was gonna fight anyway, but now I'm even more motivated to fight. But there was a moment where I was talking to my father, and he was just like, he was just worried about my mental state. And he was like, man, this is a lot on you, son. Maybe you should just let her just, have the kids. And I was like, Dad, I can't. At this point, I can't. I mean, even if I wanted to, which I don't want to, but I mean, it's not even an option, even if it was an option. I said, so we were going to have to fight. But for a moment, I think I had a moment where I was like, man, I questioned, why am I, is this worth it? I mean, what if I mess around and get in a situation messing around because I'm trying to fight for custody of my kids? Come to find out, man, shout out to Department of Social Services. They was like, Mr. Doe, here's the thing. I know you don't know this, but this happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? This happens a lot. Like women might say, oh, well, the father is abusing the kids or whatever. Like whatever they got to say to make it to where you can't see your kids or whatever. And I mean, I had never really thought about nothing like that, So it wasn't really no data that I had, readily handy for me because I didn't think I was going to need this. I'm like, I'm about to get custody of my kids. The case is going well. On Monday, we about to wrap this up. And let me tell you the way God works. So we go pick up the kids like every other Friday, and usually I go pick them up, right? Now, remember, we still got joint custody. I ain't got full custody yet. So on this Friday, I'm supposed to go pick up the kids, but my load coming back in town had got held up, so I didn't make it in on time. So I told Michael, I said, hey, can you go get the kids for me? She go get the kids, and Richmond County at the house, at my ex's house. Talking about he can't get the kids because, she filed these allegations against him. So, we're going to have to charge him with, XYZ. These were 2 felony counts, like, So I talking to so she let me talk to the officer because I'm like, what's going on? So he told me what she said, whatever. So shout out to my lawyer. I had a phenomenal attorney. He took care of everything. But it was a process. And during the process, I couldn't even talk to my own kids.
That's a long time, 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months is a long time where you can't, and maybe it wasn't quite 6 months. It felt like forever, though.
Yeah.
I remember one time, me and my kid was at the movies, and I saw Lacey there with one of her little friends. I was like,
and you couldn't even talk to her.
I couldn't even talk to her.
That's insane.
I couldn't even talk to her.
I can't imagine that.
But I'm going to tell you, man, but I that's why I say anything you go through, man, like God do these things to you to test you, man, to see if you really believe. But for a second there, I think I had lost faith in faith, but my faith was tested. And I look back, I said, I wouldn't change nothing. I would put me through all of that because that actually helped me. What sometimes the stuff that's meant to destroy you helps you. The judge sat right there in the court and he said, I'm looking over the paperwork, and they determined that these kids were coerced to say bad things about their father. And they were told verbatim, this is what it says here, Mama said that if we say these things, we can stay with her and Daddy won't get in trouble. So they didn't even know the gravity of what she told them to say.
It comes back to this full circle. You say sometimes kids don't know.
They don't know.
Because they don't know that's a felony.
They don't have no idea.
That's actually trouble.
I mean, they was little kids. They ain't had you trying to get Daddy caught up. Like, they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I say that, like, going through some of this stuff, that's why, I'm always telling fathers, man, fight for your rights, man. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. No matter what it takes, fight for your rights.
I know you do a lot of things. So, as far as the business side, kind of, I'm gonna say, I asked how you could say a little, but you can't say. Tell me if you had to count with all things you do, like business wise. What do you do? Like, you got the financial consulting agency. So what do y'all sell there? What do y'all do there?
Okay, so the name of our agency is Family Financial Consultants, right? So we started off in the beginning just doing life insurance, right? And other products like cancer protection, hospital plans, a lot of other stuff, mortgage protection. But then we started venturing off into healthcare. So now we do something called Medicare health insurance, which is health insurance for seniors. And the weird thing about that, like the insurance business wasn't something that I actually even had a desire to get into, right? So all the years that I was in trucking, once I got custody of the kids, I started to think like, I need to be home every day. Even though I own my truck and I'm home a lot, I'm actually home quite a bit, but I still ain't home every day. So I started thinking about other things that I could do. I said, well, I'm in truck. That's why I always tell people, don't do your job, use your job. So I'm in trucking. How do I use trucking to do some other stuff, right? So, once I got custody, I said, I'm going to use trucking to build something else. So I started thinking about real estate, which is the first thing everybody think about, I guess. So, but I always had this passion for real estate though, right? But it was more so on the investing side. I wasn't really trying to be an agent per se, but I said, well, you know what? That might be a good segue to get into investing, just to be an agent and learn. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I get out and be like, well, I ain't really trying to be no agent. I really want to just buy houses and invest. But I had a guy, man. I used to have this real wild sports group back in the day called Real Sports Speak. And I just be in there just doing what I do. But this guy, he messaged me, man. And he said, man, you ever thought about selling insurance? I was like, no. Who the hell wants to sell insurance? You know what I'm saying? So, I had never even considered that. He said, man, I think you would be good at it, man. And luckily for him, and me, looking back on it now, like I was really in a mode where I was looking to do something else, right? All the years that I was in trucking, it was a way for me to make a good living, and I was good at it. But my priority is I need to be home. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be home, so I need to find something that gives me purpose. I thought I loved trucking. That's the thing about life, man. Your job will fool you. You will be doing a job and creating a life for yourself, and you start telling yourself, man, I love my job. No, you don't. You love the life that your job provides you. And once that clicked in my head, because I tell myself, man, I love trucking. No, I didn't. I just love the fact that I own my own truck. I can move to where I wanted to move. I loved that aspect of it. But I didn't love trucking. I didn't like being gone from my wife one day. See, I came from my first marriage where I couldn't wait to be gone to a marriage where I couldn't wait to be home. So I got to change something. This is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be home now. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I leave the house, my kids used to always pick fun of us. They was like, Daddy literally just left. Why is y'all on the phone already? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, we just had this yearning to always be talking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, like the insurance thing wasn't something that I wasn't even remotely interested in it, but I let the guy come by my house. And he was actually a friend of my brother. My brother knew this guy. I didn't know him, but he was in the insurance business. He came by my house and talked to me about an opportunity in the insurance business. And he said, all you got to do is get a license. I said, for real? Okay. I guess that ain't gonna hurt nothing. Cause now I'm thinking like I already got a strong income in trucking. So my mindset even back then was don't do your job, use your job. Like, even though this was really my business, but still, don't do it, use it. You know what I'm saying? I want to do something else. So let me use the income from this and the stability from this to transition into something else. So I went to school. I took a course up in Atlanta. It was like a 1-week course. It was because to get your license in the state of Georgia, you have to go through a pre-licensing class. So I did all of that. Studied for the test, passed the test. Got my life and health license, and I started doing just life insurance, right? And it was cool. It was great money, but I still was trucking. So I was trucking and I was doing that. But I felt empty still. Like I was like, man, this ain't really doing enough for my spirit, man. Because I was at a point in my life where like I need purpose. I need something to make me want to wake up, right? And so we got introduced to Medicare. Once we got introduced to Medicare, and I found other aspects of Medicare health insurance where seniors can get assistance, like they call it extra help or federal assistance with their prescription drugs. And it don't cost them anything to apply for the assistance, but a lot of the seniors just don't know how to do the application.
Right,
you got to do it online. So me and my wife, we said, you know what? Yeah, we get paid to write the applications, but if we can help them get assistance, then that's going to provide a value in the community, and we're going to be able to grow from there. And so we ended up falling in love with what we do because we found an aspect of what we do that we could attach some purpose to it. Writing plans ain't going to give me no purpose, but if I can get them some other assistance that they're not familiar with and save them a lot of money. You talking about seniors, man. Like I've had seniors call me and tell me that they were paying. I had a lady call me actually like 3 weeks ago. She was trying to pick up some insulin, and she said, "Mr. Doe, they told me to call you that you can help me." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" She said, "I'm trying to pick up my insulin, and it's $600." I said, "Okay, you need prescription drug assistance." So people who have Medicare, they can get prescription drug assistance. So I did the application. It takes 2 weeks for it to come back. When it comes back, it puts a cap on her medications. Most of her medication would cost us $11. So that medication went from $600 to $11. That's what I love. You know what I'm saying? So we get a lot of accolades for the applications, but the applications come from the work we do in the community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we love it. We love to be out in the street. But we pay to be in Walmarts and all this other kind of stuff. So we actually got all the Walmarts here in Augusta. So people be getting mad, like, who got all the Walmarts and doing Medicare, in Augusta? Man, that's free game. You know what I'm saying? But my brokers, like they want to be in the community. They thrive in the community. They love helping people get prescription drug assistance. And the thing about it, if you want to make a lot of money, all you got to do is figure out how to create value. If you can create enough value, people will pay you whatever you want to be paid, man. So that's kind of how our business work when it comes to that. Life and health, we mostly do Medicare. That's what we do. That's what we're passionate about. We're passionate about helping seniors with their health care.
But I mean, you do that, and then, you also, you do a lot of social media things as well. So podcasting is one thing that you picked up as well. But then you also have your own reels. It's not podcast form, but you might have the phone. You put it on your TikTok. You put it on your Instagram. So you're constantly like doing something. How do you even maintain some kind of work-life balance?
Man, I just love what I do, bro. Like, if there's something that I can share with somebody, man, like, I just love sharing stuff, man. And I do it for the love, man. So I had a guy, it's funny, man. I had a guy message me, man. He might hear this, but I forget what the guy's name. He said, "Man, you do podcasts, man. I was watching your stuff, man. Can I come over there and learn from you?" I'm like, "Bro, shit. I'm still learning, bro. But you come over here and watch me. But come on, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't no expert or nothing at this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just putting out content, and still continuously trying to. I'm also concerned with putting the content out versus how it looks. Oh, it ain't perfect. It ain't got to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? If I feel something, I say something, man. That's with the reels. That's with anything that I'm talking about, like. I feel like our people, especially, I feel like, but people in general, I ain't gonna just say I'm black. So yeah, there's a component to me that doesn't apologize for certainly catering to people that look like me. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't look like me. They be like, "Man, I really like your podcast, man. I really like what you're talking about." So I think messages are messages. Like, people don't, black, brown, white, whatever. Like, if you say something good, they're like, "Oh, I like that." You know what I'm saying? But I always felt like growing up, a lot of mistakes that I made was because I didn't have information. So anytime I can drop some game on somebody, and here's the thing: most of the things in life that we struggle with is really because of where we are mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like, people can write something down to you point by point. Your mind ain't right, you ain't gonna be able to execute. So a lot of this stuff comes down to your mindset. So that's why with me, a lot of times you're going to hear me, because I can tell a brother like, "Oh man, do all these things, get custody of your kids." But if his mind ain't there, if he ain't going to be willing to, see, some people will take risks, but they won't accept risk. That's two different things. Now, you can take risks, but do you accept all the possible outcomes of the risk?
Yeah.
That's a mind thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always talking to folks, even in business, like when brokers partner with our agency, I'm like, listen, you're not gonna win overnight. A lot of these cats on social media, it takes them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to build a business. Now they selling the course telling you can build one in 30 days. That's not true. It's not possible.
Yeah.
These guys they gaslighting y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna happen. So when you partner with me, I'm gonna give you realistic expectations. Like it's gonna, hey, it's gonna take a couple years for you to build your book up the way you want it to be built. You may be using your job for a little while, until you build up the clientele, until you build up referrals and things of this nature, man. So I think that I made a lot of mistakes, and even in business, because I didn't know certain things. I know one time I talked to you about something. I said, hey, you should be getting paid in, XYZ. You should be doing this and doing that. Like, people didn't tell me certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even watching my mama, I mean, she was a hustler, but there's levels to business. You know what I'm saying? There's hustling, and then there's, making money and all that stuff. That's cool. But then there's like structure. Yeah. There's LLCs, there's S Corps, there's, you got a tax preparer, then you have a accountant or CPA. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different levels, and these levels, they a lot of them save you money. Once you get into the game where you understand, okay, hold up, man. So I'm gonna get an S Corp, pay myself a salary. I'm gonna cut my tax rate by 15%. Oh shoot, man, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
See, but even what you were saying right there, I feel like that's that what you just said are things people want to know. And when they ask questions, sometimes people get so wordy that little bit you just said right there, they're cutting 15%, pay myself, that's all lost in the shuffle because they so busy trying to say, do this. And even if you give the short version, you still miss the details. Because I see so many, it's a funny thing, but people are like, listen, man, what you got to do, man, you get a dream, right? You wake up, brush your teeth, get your LLC, go do this. It's like, all right, now hold up. Just going to get an LLC ain't even, it's everything is steps.
These people have you thinking all you got to do is get an LLC and you're going to be rich. You know what I'm saying?
They think that. But you, it's funny you say that because you are the one you're the first person I think I've ever talked to that was even saying like, watch what you're doing with that because if you keep showing a loss, you won't be able to get loans in the future. And I don't think people think that way because I ain't gonna lie, they probably think I'm making another LLC, which is not the way to go. But still, it's a lot of ins and outs of business that, that people ain't gonna know. And you said something earlier. You was like, you had talked to me about, certain prices, that and third. And I remember having a video about it. Cause I remember when you told me. I remember it set me for a little while, and it was right. It was right though. We was talking about some business stuff, and it's funny because you're doing it now, right? But we was talking about it. We had a lot of meetings first. First off, we had like at least like 8, 7 meetings before you even started doing anything. But it was needed. And you talked about some things, and I said, "You said how much for that?" And I told you like, "That's it." You was like, "Those crackhead prices." I was like, "God damn!" But I understood it. I understood it, and now it's funny because I feel like you also set a precedent now. So now people probably upset because my price is probably too high for them. I don't know, but they could thank down the door for that. So it's all good. But I like that the business mindset that you've helped me. When I was going to do a podcast, probably in the beginning of the year, I'm not sure when, because last year I said that out of 2023, you were probably the most influential person I met because of that. Like, it made me get on my business side of things because you do so much stuff from the heart or like, I got a clip I got to put out this week that I talked about that, but you don't pay your rent from the heart. You don't pay your bills from the heart. You can't, Christmas and birthdays I can't pull it, grab it to my heart. It's monetary. And so you do need your business to be set right. I was going to ask you, how do you separate the two if you do, like with what you do financially, your financial institute versus the podcasting? Because you approach both in a business way and you still entertain and still have fun with it. How are you able to do that? Like, have fun with the podcast, still want to make money and, still trying to make it lucrative.
Well, I think one of the things that especially with the podcast, I'm just right. My thing right now is that if I continue to just put out good content, continue to just be authentic about who I am, being monetized and all these things, I'm not trying to get monetized. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like my success in business. Like we wasn't running after any kind of something monetary wise. We just say, you know what, we're gonna keep providing value, and then in the value, chase value. And you ain't got to chase money. One thing about money, if you're chasing money, you got to keep chasing money. if you do things for money, you got to keep doing things for money.
Right.
So I'm not doing anything for money. I'm doing it because I want to do it. This is done. I'm gonna put this content out. Whatever comes out of that, then we're gonna take that and we're gonna build upon that, right? But I'm doing it because this is free game done. This is what I'm gonna give you. This is what's in me to give. And on the business side now, even on that, like we give out a lot of stuff, man. Like we there's not another field agency better than Wealth Alliance Group, Family Financial, and just this whole it's not another one. And what we do for brokers is unmatched. I mean, no one can remotely come close to us, and that comes from a spirit of giving. Like even the people that I'm partnered with, who all brothers and sisters, like they look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like we have this spirit of giving and seeing other people that look like us have a lot of success in a business that doesn't really look like us, right? But most people that need help do look like us though. So it's funny being in an insurance business where it's overwhelmingly, other races, but understanding that as a Black successful agency, if you can connect with your people in the community, and that's Black, white, brown, don't matter. I mean, everybody, my people, it gives you a competitive advantage, right? And so we've gotten a lot of brokers to buy into that, to be in the community and to help people. So business is business, right? But all the podcasts and stuff is really just like, that's almost like, I ain't gonna say it's me having fun, but that's just, that's me kind of taking the business and putting it on and making it a game for other people to kind of get, you know what I'm saying? So, because you was even talking about like adjustable, they call it adjustable gross income. So you have businesses out here, right? They'll do things like, oh, I start a business, and they use the business to basically offset their income, right? So they might, let's say they got a job making $100,000 a year, and then they'll go out and start a business because they want to offset the taxes from the job they have. And I understand that mentality. So they'll be showing like no profit on the business. Oh, I ain't making no money on this business. Oh, I'm writing everything off. Okay, that's cool until that business tries to go get a loan. Like you're trying to scale your business and grow in that business, but you can't.
Right.
Because the bank is looking at how much money is that business making. Oh, that business didn't make any money, and you're gonna say, oh wait, I had all these write-offs. Okay. The bottom line is that the business didn't make no money. They don't care about, your write-offs. They don't care about none of that. They're gonna look at the adjustable gross income. Oh yeah, but I made $100,000. But listen, I had to come up with a bunch of write-offs because I didn't want to pay taxes. Okay, I mean that's fine, but the bottom line is that would you loan money to a broke person? No, you wouldn't. I don't know anybody that would loan money to a broke business.
Yep.
Right. So if your business is not showing a profit, you can't borrow money. You can't borrow money, for the business, which means you can't grow, which means you can't scale. And we've confused hustling with business. Nah, that ain't business. You know what I'm saying? The people work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like we're still learning what real business is. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you employing people? Are you giving people opportunity in your community? You know what I'm saying? Or you doing everything? I mean, because even when I was in trucking, like I was a sole proprietor, which is fine. I mean, nothing wrong with it. But I call myself a business person. If I didn't drive that truck, I didn't get paid. So I created a job for myself, which was cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people create jobs for themselves every day. Nothing wrong with that. But I was going around saying I was a businessman, which on some level I was, but really, there's levels to business, right?
I was just gonna say, like, it's like some even different forms of our conversation. It's kind of revert back to the same thing because it's one of them things where like you don't know unless you go through it. So when you was a trucking, not saying you weren't, but you thought you were that businessman that you are now.
Yeah.
You thought you was that then, but you wasn't that then. Now you know that because you are that now. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. Come on now. I mean, that's how life works, man.
It's funny like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works, man. And for people who can do that 180 and self-reflect and put that game out there, listen, man, because see, sometimes in life, we don't like to say that. We don't want to say, well, I wasn't who I thought I was. Nah, I wasn't who I thought I was. But right. But when you're around, the problem a lot of times with us and just anybody, like you start moving differently, but everybody around you is still moving the same. So you don't even realize You know what I'm saying? Like you have to get around other people that are moving the way you want to move. Then you start to realize, man, you know what? I was doing it wrong the whole time. Not that I was doing it wrong, but for me, I was, because I was in trucking, right? I was sole proprietor. I should have had an LLC. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was in trucking. That's dangerous. I could have killed somebody. I could have had it, not on purpose, but just stuff happens. Yeah. They would have sued me for everything that I had because I didn't have no kind of protection. It just means limited liability company. I'm just protecting assets. But I wasn't thinking like that. Because I was told by somebody, which was a tax preparer, that I didn't need it. Oh, you don't need it. Yeah, I don't need it to make money. I need it to protect me.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't think people even know that. Like, that's why I know they got these things like such and such for dummies and it's like this easy books to read. But I think people should. But I'm sorry, pay attention in school because you learn that in school anyway. That's just me. But economics class. But I do think a lot of the forms of business that you can't have, like people don't know the ins and outs of them. Like I was big on that too in high school. Anytime they had a project, I put sole proprietor. I don't know why, I just always did. Barbershop, sole proprietor. Everything was sole proprietor to me, right? But you're right. Then you get sued for everything. You know what I'm saying? It's me versus the LLC, where it's like a company that I still go do my own thing if I need to.
But the biggest thing is that a sole proprietor is attached to your Social Security number. Mm-hmm. So if all your other assets attached to your Social Security number, you're in trouble.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. Whereas that LLC is attached to your EIN number. Yeah. And so they can come after that, but they can't come after my personal assets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you don't know. And you, like I say, and you're going to other people who honestly, they don't know this. They know some things, but they don't know. And it's not even like this ain't even high level stuff. It's just that we don't know, and then when someone tells us, we're like, oh man, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even hard. It's just that, we're not around people that talk like this, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times. And I know for me anyway, and even when I did hear it, I was like, well, my tax preparer said I don't need that. So I ain't gonna worry about it. But honestly, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was like, LLC, that sounds scary. You know what I'm saying? It just sounded scary,
Yeah, it's scary abbreviation.
S-corp, oh, that really sounds scary. That sounds like I'm about to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I definitely ain't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but here's the thing. You build a business under your LLC and you don't have an S-corp and you're paying 40% in taxes. I remember I had someone tell me one time, oh, Don, it's somebody that I have respect for. Like, he's an attorney and his wife is now a CPA. And they would tell her, at the time she wasn't a CPA, but they were like, oh, you're paying too much in taxes. But no disrespect, too much is relative. So what you think is, I understand that, but I'm paying 40% of my adjustable gross income because that's the tax rate that I'm at, right? But once I got the S-corp, it got cut by 15%. You know what I'm saying? So, but I didn't know. All I know is people telling me that think they know, oh, well, you just need more write-offs. No, man, I don't need more write-offs. I need better structure.
Yeah.
I'm not structured properly. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need more write-offs. I done exhausted all my write-offs. Okay. I'm not trying to go to jail. Okay. I mean, I do need to show some profit because I'm scaling. See, some people are just running a business. Some people are scaling, meaning that you're trying to grow and duplicate what you've done in the other people. And you don't want, what happens to a lot of folks, they build a business that they grow to hate because they're not scaling, right? They're not duplicating anything. They're just growing a business, which ends up being a job, and now they hate it. Oh man, I hate this insurance stuff because I'm doing everything. I don't have a staff, right? I don't have someone to manage this and to help me run this. I'm just doing everything. I'm cranking out videos and I got to edit everything and I got to do this and do that. I don't have a team around me. You know what I'm saying? So, the team is to buy you time. I'm not, anybody that's affiliated with me financially, it's like, because I want my time to do other things. I want to do this video, but what I don't want to do is edit it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do no clips or nothing. I just want to do what I love to do, which is the content. That's what I love to do. I give it to somebody else. They love chopping it up and doing. That's what they love to do. Give people things that they love to do. And you focus on what you love to do. And that's why you hire out other people to help you, because now you can focus on what you really love to do, which may be the content.
So that you ended on that, I was going to say that too. Like how do you approach podcasting, even in the content space? Like, what's your approach? Because at first, I know it's you and your wife, but also you do guests. So how do you approach that part, like the guest part? I understand the topic part. We're gonna have to talk about this. It could be whatever you said, some kind of mind. It's in your notes. Camera, come on, let's go. Action. But when you get these guests, because I one thing about you, I will say, maybe I give you credit for, I don't know, but you pick very good guests. Like, it's a few of them I watch back a few times because I get inspired. I love to get inspired. It's hard to get inspired, like, in our setting, because everybody, I feel like, do the art so wrong. They just do it just because they found a camera somewhere, or they picked a microphone up, or they won a podcasting kit at their job for coming in every day on time for the last 30 days. I don't know. But they don't approach it the way you approach it. So, like, what's your approach, and how do you even, like, find or figure out what guest is going to be a good guest for you?
Man, I'm big on feelings, man. Sometimes I get an opportunity to shout out to my guy, Kevin Brown. He has a sales conference every year, and I've been, honored to speak at these sales conferences. And a lot of times, man, when I'm talking, I don't have no whole bunch of like, man, I be coming off the dome a lot of times, man. Like, I'm a guy, I had to feel it. Mm-hmm. If I don't feel it, we ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of my guests are people that I feel. You know what I'm saying? These people that, like, I like these people. Like, now I did just recently interview a guy that I haven't known him that long, but the energy was like infectious from the beginning. Like, even when I first met you, like, energy, to me, I'm a big believer in energy. And when it's there, it's there. And when it's not, it's not. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that it can come back later on. I feel like when I first meet you, if it ain't there, it ain't there. You know what I'm saying? It's either there or it ain't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna make it be there. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I'm at this point in my life, everybody that's been on my podcast, like, they can ask me for anything. If I got it, they got it. Like, I love these brothers. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love their energy. I love what they've done in life. Most of these guys are fathers. I know I had Tim Bailey on. He's just an exceptional human being. And I'm a big supporter of his foundation, which is Success Team. I love what he's doing with these kids. So these are people that inspire me. When I bring somebody on my podcast, there's somebody that when I look at their stuff, it makes me be like, yeah, I like this dude. Mm-hmm. And I just message him like, hey, man, like the last guest I just had, which is weird because I was like, hey, man, I'd like for you to be on the podcast. I like what you're talking about. He was, oh, man, he was all excited. I was like, damn, hold up now. I mean, I'm just, I ain't nobody now like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, hey, but to him, it was like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was excited that I even asked him to be on the podcast. Right. But it's just people that inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that I draw energy from. I'm big on energy, man. I'm big on what I feel when I'm around somebody and when I talk to them. So what I do, like, let's say I'm interviewing somebody at like 11 o'clock. I try to do my interviews in the morning, right? So let's say we got an 11 o'clock interview. I happen to come in at 10, just so I can get even more of a feel for you.
Yeah.
Like, just make sure you're comfortable with everything. I try to pick people that are comfortable just flowing. I don't want to be, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I won't, because I talk about everything. Like, I done told y'all how, I don't talk about it all. So I like open book people. You know what I'm saying? I like guys that are, and women that are just willing to just like, let it rip. Like, people need authenticity. Like, they don't get real stuff. They get social media stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't they don't get authenticity. And so the people that I try to get to come on the show, I try to make sure they're a good fit for what we do and good energy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, like, if you had like to pick, and it's like probably a cheesy question more so than anything, like, goal-wise for the podcast, what's like, whether from a business standpoint or a content creator standpoint, what's like the goal, like, for you? Like, next year this time, you want to kind of what? Is it, or is it just like, I'm letting the chips fall where they may? We just trying to figure this thing out. We just gonna keep putting out good content.
Well, I think that's the thing with the podcast. Like, I didn't get into the pod, and I think that's why maybe, like, shout out to you. I know I'm just using your words, but Don, I like your content, and other people, I like the content. I didn't get into it with an agenda, so it's kind of like when I got into insurance, right? I took off. Like, why? Because I had money from trucking, so I took trucking money and turned it into insurance money. So I didn't come into insurance struggling. So I'm not worried about getting $1 from a sale. I'm going out in the community just talking to people. Whether you get this insurance or not, guess what? I'm still going to eat. Right? I'm just leveraging one business to grow the other one so I can actually go out here and learn my craft. I can get good at it. I can give authentic content. I don't need to make $1 off this, right? I don't need to have any kind of, I don't have any goals for podcasts per se, other than to keep putting out good content. You know what I'm saying? To keep doing what I feel like is genuine and what feels good. And as long as I can keep doing that, like I'm not the views and the YouTube subscribers, all this other stuff, that stuff will come. You keep putting out good stuff, one day, boom, something happened and it is what it is, right? But you just got to keep putting out, good content, man. It's content that you believe in and not agenda-based content. When I'm talking, I'm just like, me and my wife, people be like, man, y'all be looking so, we just be talking.
Right.
Like we literally just, now we do the stuff we be talking about privately and we talking about it on camera now.
Well, good question. And it's a good, how long did it take you to get comfortable being on camera?
It didn't take me long at all, man. I think that some people have a gift and they don't even know it. Like, I've had some opportunities to speak at conferences and stuff. And people have complimented me, and I just go with what their compliment is, man. I don't try to make nothing out of it. I'm just like, okay, if that's what you got from that, and I received that. But like, apparently, some people have a gift, and they just, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, the only problem that I had on the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes was talking in the mic. Once I got that down pat, I was good, man. I was just like, man, hey, we just going, because when I'm talking, I get in the zone. Like, I'm just like, I remember I was talking at a conference one time and I kept referencing something that I'm always calling people big dog. Because it was a sales conference and I was talking about sales and I was talking about some of our experience and I kept saying big dog, big energy, respectfully. I kept saying that and it's like, it's just a thing that I was just doing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just energy, man. Even when I'm doing a podcast, it's just like, I can't really explain it. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm trying, man.
No,
but it's
you saying everything right. I feel like, because I think it's funny because at one point, I think maybe episode 6, 7, 8, one of them, you was like, hey man, any pointers you got for me, you let me know. I'm like, hey, y'all doing y'all thing, man. I wish I could tell you, hey, do this. But the only thing I ever had to told you, and I think you did it the very next episode, was like, it's funny because I got a question. It was like, how do you separate the two? Whether it's the agency, agency versus the podcast. And I think the very first one.
Let me cut you off. Now, when you say, do you mean like when I'm doing a podcast, like what I'm saying? Because I'm a businessman, so be careful. Is that what you?
No.
Okay.
I was just, so when I asked about being comfortable, I really meant like, well, that was a question I ain't asked it yet. I was going to ask the question like, how do you separate the two? Like, podcast Don D, sales or agency owner Don D. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the difference in the two? I was going to ask that question, but before I asked that question, you just said something. You was like, when you talking on there, you just talk, you just kind of natural flow. But the first episode, I remember the talk was fine, but I feel like I saw like an agency owner on the pod at first. Man, I tell you, I was like, hey, don't look at your phone so much. I don't know what's going on, but just don't. And that's the only time I ever seen like maybe something there. After that, I feel like y'all was just very, very engaged. But if you watch it back, because you far moved from episode 1
No,
now.
I remember.
Watch it back. It's like, sometimes I feel like it's disengagement.
Right.
Because you're like, yeah. They can't see me, but it's funny thinking about it now because you was hitting your phone. You like,
because sometimes when me and Michael was vibing, I have when I tell you I got thousands of notes in my phone. She might hit on something. I'm like, ooh, I remember I took some notes on this like last year. Let me go back and try to find them notes.
That's what you told me you were doing.
But then I went back and looked at that. I said, that's not a good look, man. I'm looking down the whole time.
Yeah, married. So to me, it seemed genuine then because, not being funny, but whether you married, not your girl, your wife, they talking, you're not always listening. It's just like, the episode you had, you was like, hey, this is a long story. Like, what's going on? Give me the short version. What's going on? Yeah. So you gotta, it's natural to do that. So I didn't think it was out of the way. I just, as I'm watching, I'm like, I probably need to tell him this. Let me go ahead and let him know.
Yeah. And honestly, man, it was a critique that I needed. One thing about me, man, because I'm more comfortable with criticism than I am with accolades. I'm becoming more comfortable with accolades, but even that, I just say, I received it. If you notice me, I just be, I received that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm more comfortable with someone telling me what I need to work on. And even that's just some insecurities clearly that I need to work on. I should be okay with someone telling me that, hey man, you're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? But I'm always looking for something to work on.
Right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying? But yeah, no, we shout out to my wife, man. That some of the episodes that we've done, like she's a phenomenal partner. Like she's just real like laid back and she does her thing, man. So we have a good chemistry together, apparently, is what people tell us. Then when I get people on the show, even if they don't have my energy, like I try to like make them comfortable, you know what I'm saying? To where they can just kind of like, dude, it's okay. Let's just, I try to take enough notes to where if it get too quiet, I can ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? And we can just keep flowing. You know what I'm saying? But it's never scripted. It's just like I just want to know. I want the people to know who they're talking to, right? I want them to get a little bit of background, and then we're gonna get into whatever your story is and everything you got going on. But
I don't think people understand that. That's like some of the best part of the podcast. Like for me, in the beginning, knowing what they do is cool. But I'm gonna watch it anyway. I ain't got no choice, right? I'm gonna watch it anyway. but no, seriously, like as I watch it, I go back to being like, okay, well, they're a good person now. What do they do? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I like their story now. Like, oh, that's a good story. He's a good dad. Or that story is kind of amazing. Let me go back and see like why we got here. So that journey part is super amazing. Even today, like we was kind of discussing like how we gonna do it. That it's needed though, because I don't know what part of this is gonna resonate with somebody. But if I broke it down into minutes of 30, every 30 minutes is something different. I don't know if you noticed, but like life, then it's like family. Business is really like that for real, on purpose. Because I want anybody to they get all through it. You're gonna get all three. If you just want the life part, you get the life part. Want the business part, you get the business part. It's up to you. But just I like the way you record the topics y'all hit on, and then how y'all hit on the topics. Like, and I even like when you double back on a part. Like, as podcasts, I don't think we realize it, but we say a lot of the same things sometimes in one episode because I gotta say it right. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you'll say something at 4 minutes, and then like I realize you said that at 12. So now I'm deciding like, damn, which way he hit it better on. Sometimes I put them together. It depends. But I like that as well because it's needed. Like, and I ain't have to tell you that. It's something you just did. You might say a line at 4 minute mark. You might say the same exact thing at 12 minute, but like you tweaked it a little bit and it hit different at 12. I like the 12 minute mark better. But all that's needed. But they don't give you no book and say, hey, do this in podcast and do this. You just kind of learned it as a speaker. You kind of like you just gifted. It's just like something that's in you. And you and Michael, both of y'all do the same thing. Like y'all both hit on the same thing a couple times, and the third or second time you do it, it sound way better. Or y'all tweaked it, or y'all tweak each other's. Mm-hmm. I've seen that as well too. So I do like that. Like so that's one thing where I can say like you say that you're not working, and when I'm editing y'all pod, like it don't feel like work to me because I'm gonna be honest with you, and not to be funny. Just I got a nice tub, so I'll edit it. I put the color and everything. I'll let it play, and as it play, I'm just writing my stuff down. Okay, I like this, I like this, I like this. Now I only give you some amount of clips, but I write a lot of stuff down for the whole 30 minutes. And if I ever feel like I want to do more work, I just do extra stuff. So sometimes you get 6 clips, sometimes you get 4. It just depends. It depends how I'm feeling. Right. Or like if y'all was just going in on the Monday, I'm like, God damn, I'm on a 10-minute mark and I got like 5 clips already. It depends, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think it's a great podcast. And anybody I sent it to, when I was editing, I worked at Walmart, I was editing it. People come in and say, oh, who's that? What they talking about? I like that. Then y'all black couple, send that to me. So it just, even without y'all trying to gain an audience, you gain an audience just by it being played, you know? Yeah. So that's important to me, man. But yeah. I like the work y'all doing.
Yeah, I'm going to say this too, man, because I do think that we get a lot of compliments from a lot of people, but like, especially, man, black people, man, like we're looking for good content. We're looking for authentic content, right? And I'm very proud to make content that people that look like me can feel good about, right? That they can relate to. I think that's the biggest thing about speaking. Are you relatable? You know what I'm saying? If you're whether you're speaking, for a living or doing podcasts or reels, whatever you're doing, is your message relatable? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you speaking in a way that people feel like, man, yeah, that's I can feel that. And that's I'm big on that. Anytime I'm speaking, I want you to feel me. I don't want you to hear me. I want you to feel it. Not because I'm yelling at you. Like I know somebody who likes to talk loud. I know somebody they think that as long as they talking loud, that that they're saying something. But I'm saying I know a lot of people that talk loud and ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So so it's not about loudness. It's just about making sure that whenever I'm saying something, that I'm saying it in a way that it touches you.
Yeah.
Right. And people want to be touched. Like they they really do. They want to say something that makes them be drawn to action or feel like, man, that guy, he know what I'm going through. I think he was talking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that seems to be something that we've been able to do, and we just, yeah, man. Like I said, I'm humbled by the compliments, to be honest. Very, very humbled by it. But I think that comes from like my father. My father, man, he just truly believed in taking advantage of every moment, and he would just. My dad, when we knew he was going to die, I remembered the nurse telling me. She said, "You might want to go in there," and he still could speak and everything during this time, but she was just saying, he's going to be transitioning soon because he was getting hospice care at the time. But like I said, he still was as much of his normal self as he could be. But she was like, now's the time for y'all to be asking your dad, is anything else that he want to say to you or whatever. And I went and I said, Dad, is there anything else that you need to tell me? Like I said, he still was his pretty much normal self, but they were just telling us that he's gonna be transitioning soon. Anyway, it's probably about 3 weeks before he passed. He said, "Son, I don't need to tell you nothing else. I told you everything I need to tell you." But the way he said it, it was like, not you. I don't need to tell you nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like you got it. And he would always tell me this, like, Donald, no matter what you decide, my father was the only person in my life, especially family-wise, that would always tell me he was proud of me. Like my dad would always, like, he could just, it's like he knew me. It's like we was on the same wavelength. Like no matter what I did, like trucking, I got into trucking, I was great at trucking. I got into insurance, built a very successful insurance business. Like my dad, he just was like, man, this dude, he just, whatever he decided to do, he just go do it. And he's true. That's probably true. Like I don't talk a lot. My family, man, like one day I was driving trucks, they think that I was doing insurance. They was like, what? I don't make announcements, man. I make moves. I ain't talking to y'all about this. I love y'all. I mean, my family's great, but I don't talk. We got a talker in the family, and it ain't me. I don't talk. I walk. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't do a lot of talking. And so I'm the kind of guy that everybody find out what I'm doing after I done already did it. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all trying to figure out how I'm doing it. And you're probably trying to figure out, man, is he really this successful? Yeah, I am. I'm very successful. You know what I'm saying? But I don't talk a lot. I just get stuff done. You know what I'm saying? And I got that from my dad. So I don't take nothing, even just being here with you, chopping it up with you, man. Our relationship, I don't take none of this stuff for granted, man. So you say, hey, man, Don, I want to chop it up with you. Hey, say less.
Yeah.
We're going out of town on vacation for the rest of the year, coming up Monday. I was like, nah, I got it. What time is it? Yeah, I'm gonna go see. If I gotta be here all night with Maine, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, man. Because you my guy, man. No, I say that because like I take all my relationships seriously, man. Like I don't take nothing for granted. I just don't, man. I don't take my kids for granted. I don't take my wife for granted. I don't take moments for granted. People tell me, oh, don't waste a day, man. Don't waste a moment. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste a minute. Don't waste a second, right? I ain't wasting nothing. So if I'm around you and we talking, and I see you talking some low energy stuff, I'm gonna build you up. Like, hey, nah, man, I ain't. No,
that ain't it.
That ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got that from my dad. That's why when my dad passed, man, like I was at peace, man, because me and him had some talks, man, just for years. Like he made an effort to like he ain't take time for granted, man. So. And that's how I live my life. I ain't taking time for granted. That's probably some people listening to this like, Donald, don't call me, because I don't like you. But people that I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, these people that I like, oh man, like I'm gonna let them know, like, hey man, I love you, man. I love you, sis. I love you, bro. Man, keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining, man. Like for me, like I don't know how to be fake. So if you someone that I think a lot of, and I tell you that I think a lot of you, you can take that to the bank. Like I mean that. You know what I'm saying? So. I believe in giving people their flowers, like why they can still smell them and feel them. I just believe in that. That's what my dad believed in, and I think that's a good model to live by in life. He's the only person that I know that really did that, but did it for you. Like some people will call you for them. Yeah. Like they'll check on you for them. They ain't doing it for you. You know what I'm saying? They doing it for them. So they can say, "Oh, I check on everybody." No, you don't. No, you don't. You fake. Yeah. My dad called for me. He was calling, for me. He was supportive for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'm that same kind of person.
I keep saying funny, ironic. I gotta up my vocabulary. Ironic because I was gonna say before you said everything you just said, my last question had something to do with that. That was my last question. And I was like, I'll go and say right before you start talking, like, it's funny because when you're talking to another podcaster, you can always tell because it's no dead space for the most part. Even maybe you might not look at it, I don't know, but as you speak, I'm already getting a question because I feel like the tone getting lower. But then, like, as a podcaster, to keep going. Like, you just going, like, yeah. But it's like you just keep going. That's how we do. And it's funny because, like, when you across another podcast, you don't got to put much work in. My question is up here, but I don't have to do all that because to expound. Let me give you this backstory. Let me give you this part. It's all important. And it's funny because, like, I was going to ask you, like, my last question was, how has your father's passing changed you? And then you went to a whole speech about your dad without me even have to ask. Like, that was my closing question. Yeah. And I was like, what do you fucking know? He just started talking about his dad. You know what I'm saying?
But I still want to answer that though, man. Because I any opportunity I get to talk about my father, man, I get it. I get giddy about it.
Real quick, I think I wanted to say this before you answer the question. Because you inspired me. Because I'll try to do the same thing. I couldn't do it. I edited your episode. So I edited an episode, and it was a part where you talk about your dad. And I don't know when the last time you had talked about him. At least I never seen it on camera, per se. I mean, I speak, but not like, And this was one time you spoke about it, and I remember, like, looking like, hold up, looking at it. Because you can feel, I don't be men, but you can feel when somebody is trying with all their strength to kind of get the words out. And I think you just stopped for a minute, and then you kind of went. And I was like, this is a strong man. I need to do this now. You know what I'm saying? So I always told myself I wanted to do like I guess somewhat like a eulogy. I did something, I spoke on his funeral, but not like nothing major. But I still couldn't get it out because I was so still emotional and so new. And I told myself a year removed from that, I should speak about it now, right? But you think that, but in real time, I don't. Because once I start thinking about it, start talking about it, your eyes get watery, you get chills over your body, like it's just, and then your words just be gone. So to see you speak about them on camera and everything, I'm like, yo, this is, normally I'm doing inspiring around here, right? I was very inspired, like, yo, I gotta do it now. Like, I gotta try. And I tried, it still didn't work, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. I ain't there yet. But I was very inspired by you. Even a little bit you said, I was inspired by that. And I know that how much he meant to you just based off the energy and the verbiage you were saying about him. But here you go, like, just answer, I guess to answer the question, like, how has or did your father's passing change you?
Well, I don't think it necessarily changed me because I'm still the same person. I was very aware of how fleeting life can be before my father passed. Because, like I said, when my daddy was in great health, he would just call me I'm just checking on you, son. I always be like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I'm just checking on you. And so I started imitating that with people that I actually really cared about as well. So, I mean, maybe I do it more now. That's possible. But sometimes you're not even aware how things that have happened in your life have changed you. So I may it probably take my wife to say it. Maybe she can, say, well, no, he does this a little differently. But I've always been a very attentive father and husband, and so I was that before my father passed. So I think the biggest thing is that I guess I'm just like probably doubling down on my dad's energy as it pertains to just really, really, really taking advantage of every opportunity that's in front of me to speak or to pour into somebody or to take advantage of opportunities. Like maybe I'm doing that even more now, but you know, I think the biggest thing, if I had to say one thing, I think it may have made me be an even more attentive father, possibly. But I think I was already an attentive father. Like I had a great father. So when my dad died, I was the one that was orchestrating the eulogy and things of this nature. It was difficult to do, but when people expect for you to be the strong one, you get up there and you be the strong one. I'm sure that someone else may have wanted to do it for themselves, but I did it for my father. I knew it needed to be done. So, and remember one time I told my number 2 brother, he wanted to be number 1 so bad. He was complaining about something, and I told him, I said, yeah, well, you always trying to be number 1, but I'm gonna tell you something about life. Don't stand on the front. You don't want to get shot, get off the front line. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the front line. I get shot all the time. I get shot by you sometimes, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But I volunteered to be, I'm here. This is where I am. So I'm stronger than all the rest of y'all. I'm way more disciplined than all the rest of y'all. This is what I do. I'm number 1 for a reason. I'm Donald Doe Jr. I'm my father's son. The best thing you can do is to really pay attention to me. And then you can get to where you want to be at. But when you try to outdo me or try to be the big dog, I'm the big dog. I'm number 1. So the best thing you can do is learn from me, because I learned from the best. I learned from my father, and my dad was the best example of being a real man that I could have ever had in my life. He's the most inspirational person in my life by far. And I'm proud to say that. I know a lot of people can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, mama this. I love my mom. My mom was great. But my daddy would always say something when we were kids. I ain't your mom, I'm your daddy. And when you're a boy, you realize the difference when you become a man. I ain't your mom, I'm your daddy. It's different. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dog. Your mama gonna hold you and cuddle you, but I'm gonna teach you how to be a dog, how to be a man. And that's what I got from my dad. And I'm grateful because when he was alive, I mean, I had already embraced all of that. So he got a chance. That's why he said, that's why, when you ask me, like, what did I learn from his passing? I think about my dad. He said, I ain't got nothing else to tell you. You already doing it, son. My dad's mentality was, you already, like, you mastered everything, son.
Not that you look for, I'm not going to tell you don't, because I think I personally feel like all men do. I don't care how good or bad your dad is. I think all men look for some kind of validation with their dads. I don't know what it is about a dad. I don't have sons either, so I can't pinpoint it yet, but I think every man somehow they want that validation from their dad. I don't know why. I just know it from people I know, at least. And you say that because you say that, and I think about, like, I spoke about it one time, but I know, like, the last time I seen my dad before he passed, I was like, I came to his hotel. I would come to the office sometime. I would go to him. I came to the hotel and I made the front of the UPW Urban Pro Weekly, and he wanted a copy. But then he called me back up there. He told me this long-ass story. I don't know what the story's about. I still don't know. He told me some Puerto Rican guy cutting hair. I don't know. But I think he just wanted more time to talk to me. I was always in a rush. I've always been in a rush. I'm trying to go. And I remember him just saying, like, I just want to tell you, you the man. You the man. He had never spoken like that before. You know what I'm saying? But he was just saying, like, nah, everything you're doing, like, you're a dad. You're a good this person. You're a good this. Just give me a list of stuff. You're like, give me a hug, man. You the man. He just gave him a hug, and like, I always feel like that was like almost like it's like a book, because then he passed, but it's like at least you got that before, And so when you say that you talk to your dad and he said, I ain't gotta tell you nothing, it's like, it's almost like your validation, like, yo, it's you, come on, stop playing, you Donald, you are Junior, man, stop playing with me, you know what I'm saying?
No, real talk. I mean, like, and sometimes you get validation that you didn't even know you needed. Sometimes you get stuff and you don't know you need it until after you done already got it.
It's a feeling.
I didn't, when he said that, it didn't really feel like nothing at the time. I was like, damn, he ain't got nothing to tell me. I wanted, they told me I needed to get something else from you. I'm just trying to, But when he said that, I just took that. I didn't go back and forth with him. I walked away, but I was like, damn, did I do something wrong? He ain't got nothing to tell me. But he said it like, you good, bro. Like you, I might need to talk to the rest of these guys, but like you good. You know what I'm saying? Like you've done everything. Like
I don't know what happened, but I feel like from what you're telling me too, like they probably had longer conversations in there, than you might have had. And I'm not saying the distance, it's just one of them things where
I'm not even sure if I never even asked my other siblings, like, did they, ask my dad the same thing? And they may have. I mean, they haven't shared that with me, but I just know when he told that to me, I was just like, wow. I will tell you this though. I will tell you the one thing that I did learn when my father passed, and I guess this did kind of change me. I was sad for a little bit, like maybe, I don't know, maybe I was sad for a while. So I don't want to minimize my sadness, but I realized that's when my gratefulness kicked in. Because I lost something that a lot of boys never had. How the hell you gonna be sad about losing something that some people never even had? Mm-hmm. At least I had a great father to lose. Right? And so I think when I started to bask in the ambiance of gratefulness, I was like, man, I'm sad I lost my dad, but at least I had a great father to lose, man. I didn't have to carve out my own footsteps. All I had to do was just do what my dad did. Yeah. Now, he made some mistakes, no doubt about it. I might have to tweak some of this stuff, but damn, you know what? There was still a good footprint.
Even that's a blueprint.
There's a good blueprint there, right? And
better than figuring it out.
Yeah, and there was a lot of young boys in the neighborhood, like they called my dad Daddy Doe. Like a lot of these guys, they didn't have dads. They looked at my dad as a dad. And so, I was blessed in that way, man. So I think that I might have even did a post about this, like, I think it was like I dare not complain. Like, and that's real. Like I don't complain. Like I had a great father. I'm blessed. And so I try to be that same kind of father. Like I call my kids all the time, man. I know they be getting tired of me. But like I just be checking, I'm just make sure everybody okay, even when they don't respond, I still text them. I don't know what it is about these kids and phones, but either way, I just realized that, you don't take any time for granted. And my dad didn't take any time for granted. And even when his time was up, I didn't take all the time that we had together for granted. I was like, man, you know what? I'm glad I had a great father to lose, man. That was, I think that's the one thing that I take, because if I died tomorrow, can my kids say, man, my dad was great, man. He always had our back. Can my wife say, man, I had the best husband ever. My husband always was there for me. Yeah, I can say, yeah, if I died tomorrow, I'm satisfied. Like, you can let me go, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I've done my job here. You know what I'm saying? So, and I wake up every single day to be the best husband and the best father that I can be. In that order, matter of fact. My kids know, like, Michael comes first. I'm big on that too. People are like, oh, no, your kids come first. No, my wife comes first. Once you get married, there's an order of things. And kids are out of order because they ain't seen order. So it's me and Michael versus these kids. Right? And that's all of them, including Donald. I don't care. All these kids. It's y'all versus us if it come down to it. Like, me and her gonna always ride together. And I think even we talked about, I know earlier on, talking about the whole thing with blended families. Like, to me, there's a blend, but like once you get married, listen, bruh. listen, sis. You think am I getting married to somebody with kids, and you think your kids are gonna come before your husband or your wife? Don't get married. That's the game that I'm gonna give you. Don't get married. Because once you get married, your husband or your wife has to come first. And by you putting them first, the kids are going to come first. Because see, they look at it like, because me putting Michael first, guess what? We still put the kids first, technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't never let the kids go without. But what's not going to happen is you're not going to come to me, trying to turn me against Michael or turn Michael against, me. Mm-hmm. Kids will try to play you when they realize that there's a crack in the foundation.
Yeah, definitely.
And me and Michael are foundation. Because here's the thing. Kids grow up and they leave. And now your ass in the house with a woman that you don't like. And now y'all done divorced, right? So kids ain't gonna be here forever. So when I see these parents who it's all about the kids, I just look at them, I just like, okay, that's a divorce waiting to happen. It's happening. They don't know it yet, but I know it. Because that's how it was when my first marriage. It was all about the kids, man. Like, our marriage was terrible, but we loved them kids, though. You know what I'm saying? So even me, like, it was all about the kids. And then, you know, you see it happen all the time, man. Folks, you know, man, and I know people been married for 30, 40 years. They get to a point, hey, I'm out. You know, kids out of college, you know, and that's because you didn't really, you know, keep each other first, man. Like, you know, my wife is her and is everybody else. Literally, everybody else comes after that. And my kids, they know. I mean, as soon as I got married, I said, hey, Michael, come first. Okay, Daddy, I'm letting you know now. Don't mess up now, because it's gonna be us against y'all. Because like I said, y'all, imagine putting somebody first that's gonna put you last at some point. They're gonna put some knucklehead before you at some point. You gonna put your child first, and then she gonna get with some boy that treat her like trash, and you know, gonna be like Travis Hunter or something. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, you know, no disrespect to Travis Hunter situation. I'm just saying, you know, like, you know, you put them first, and then they out here with some, you know, whoever, you know what I'm saying, and putting them before you. Now what? You know, so nah, man. I don't believe in that, man. So it's me and my wife first, man. So we're gonna continue to keep our thing strong.
Definitely, man. Look, man, definitely. This was a dope conversation. I feel like I think I ended the year right. I was trying to figure out whether I want to do one more after you or this is the last one. I feel like I ended the year perfect. Like my last maybe last 6, 7, 10 episodes, I love all of them. Like the guests, I like ending the year with a bang. And normally I don't do nothing in December. December I take off. I don't do nothing. But like I said, I knew you was gonna be gone. So I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna do some things, but I like that we did it today versus any other day. I had no time to do nothing. It was no time restraints. I do 90 minutes. This is almost 3 hours. I don't know if you know that now, but yeah, almost 3 hours. 2:47, something like that. Yeah, 2:42, something like that. So yeah, but this was good. This was good, and I like the fact that like how we speak and when we talk. The thing about podcast, at least for me, at least in this 3 hour, 2.5 hours, I know that it's going to be potent today, potent in February, next year, 2 years from now. It's still, because of how our conversation went, it's going to be potent regardless. So it's like kind of like everlasting footage, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is dope.
I mean, let me say something real quick. And that's another reason why I like doing the reels and the podcast and all that stuff, because like it's almost like legacy. Like it's gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even when I'm not here, you'll be able to go back and listen to some of this stuff, and it may help somebody. You know what I'm saying?
That was the first reason why I even got into any kind of film stuff. I was having my first daughter, and I seen an article somebody got killed and had a daughter in the way. I said, damn, all she got is pictures, because this is 2011. Nobody had no videos. I said, I got to start making videos. And I started liking doing it, but I was doing them so that if something ever happened, she could say, I got footage of my dad. This is how he talked. This is how he walked. This is... And then now it's like I got stuff with them, you know, from babies to now. So you're right, it's legacy stuff, and it's just enhanced of what we did back in the days. 90s, you had the big, you know, camcorder, but now you got high quality stuff. You know, they could see me from 19 to now, like, oh, Daddy changed a lot. He gained a little weight, got some wisdom. You know what I'm saying? He lost a tooth. You know, all this, all this stuff. So. Yeah, man, this is dope, man, and I think this is dope material.
And listen, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. The reason why I really gravitate towards you is because of the kind of father you are.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for real. Like I don't mess with. If you ain't no good father, I don't even mess with you, man.
Same.
Like, I can't do it. You know, if you don't raise your kids, oh well, Donna, you judging, but consider me your judge.
Oh yeah.
If you don't take 100%. Care of your kids, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do it. And a lot of times you come by the office, you'll have your babies with you. I'm like, man, that's.
All the time.
This is somebody I can do business with. You know what I'm saying? Like I trust men who raise their kids. I just do. You know what I'm saying? They handle it. You know, men that are loyal to their wives, and men who raise their kids get my respect.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
I tell you all the time. I say, you know, if you're gonna see me out, I'm gonna be around a bunch of men. I'll be with two women.
Yeah.
2 young ladies. So that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
so
man.
That's all I need. So
yeah, man.
But yeah, this was dope, man. Dope. Tell them where they can find you at. With your podcast. Tell them where they can find you at. how they can get in contact with you, whether it's email, Facebook, whatever. Give them that rundown.
Yeah, first of all, of course, you can email me at freegamedond@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at freegamedond and on TikTok at freegamedond. And our YouTube channel is freegamedond. So yeah, of course, now on Facebook, I'm on Facebook is Donald Doe Jr. But I'm pretty much on all social media outlets. I'm Donald Doe Jr. on Facebook and on X. So quick to want to call it Twitter, but it's X. But on the other outlets, it's Free Game Don D. So yeah, please subscribe to Free Game Don D on YouTube, and especially if you like the content.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Shout out to you, man. Look, man, we out. Another episode of More Than the Masters. Shout out to Donald Doe for coming through. Clap it up for him real quick, and we out. Let's get it.